Hello everyone. Welcome to the stream where I literally upset all of you. No matter who you are watching, you're going to get angry as this stream continues. I'm going to say something you don't like about something you like. We've been putting this off for ages. I am going to express an opinion on the internet. And you can't stop me. I fully expect some of you to quit the stream as this goes on. I fully expect some of you to be so fiercely upset that you just can't keep watching. He said the mean thing about the game I liked 20 years ago. It's just a shame when you were a child your taste was shit, isn't it? Could have been prevented. We're going in guns blazing for this one too. I'm not holding back. I'm really going to tear into things that I know people love dear. And I will try defend my point of view as I go. But I am not against telling someone why they are plainly wrong while we do this. Do you want to start on a high note? Welcome to the tier list of every mainline Pokemon game. I'm going to start with a very bold move. The absolute worst one is Red and Blue. Literally every Pokemon game that has released since Red and Blue is objectively better than the first ones. There is no reason to go back and play it whatsoever. Everything has improved since Red and Blue came out. And you want to know what else is at it? You're not gonna like it. Yellow is next to Red and Blue. For only being marginally better, and the main mechanics from Pokemon Yellow, where Pikachu follows you, is implemented better in other Pokemon games. Significantly better. We're going to pop that down there as well. You wanted me to go even further with this? Because we're not talking in terms of mechanics now, we're talking in terms of taste. Alongside Red and Blue is Ruby and Sapphire. Now here we go. This is where people start to lose their minds. That one position, people are going to start to freak out. I think Ruby and Sapphire is one of the worst Pokemon games that they have ever made. The region is very bland. It has too much water. It has way too much water. The selection of Pokemon is very contrived. In order to get a complete roster of Pokemon, the Pokedex, you have to own 2 Pokemon GameCube games and trade them into Ruby and Sapphire. People complain about things like Dexit today in Sword and Shield where you don't have access to all the Pokemon. This started specifically with Ruby and Sapphire and the changes they made with Pokemon Colosseum and XD. If you are against the things like the Dexit move that happened in Sword and Shield and people campaigning against that, then you should be furious at what Ruby and Sapphire did back in the day. There is almost no post-game in Ruby and Sapphire as well. There's very little to do. Some mechanics are cool like the Reggie Trio, but they're done better in later games. And now the world's on fire. We're putting that at the very bottom. It's an F tier Pokemon game. You see, the first two I knew that people would find ways to justify them. I knew that one's gonna ruffle a lot of feathers. And we're gonna keep going. We have so much more of this. I'm getting out all my opinions on these games. Unsubscribed? It's your poor sense of taste, my man. We're being hostile with this today. But yeah, I think Ruby and Sapphire are some of the worst Pokemon games they have made. They limited access to a lot of Pokemon. They failed to implement the old roster. People get upset about Dexit, but they're not upset about Ruby and Sapphire, which did the exact same thing. You should be upset by these games and how you cannot bring Pokemon even over into them. I think you should be. Emerald also exists, and Emerald gets a nudge better. Emerald is going to get a nudge better than Ruby and Sapphire. A lot of the same problems with the region still exist in Emerald. It's a lot of just water. I know too much water is a meme, but it's actually so incredibly true. Half of this game is an ocean that you swim in, and you just battle trainers, and there's nothing else happening. People getting a lot of ads? Why are you getting... You shouldn't be getting ads. Hang on. Stop the music. You got 3 ads, and they're long as fuck. Why are people getting so many ads? Hang on. Stop the spicy Pokemon takes. Why y'all... I don't even do ad breaks. Ad stream. What? Why are you getting so many? Other people have not got a single one. I don't know what to do about that. I don't think I've tweaked anything. Hang on. Hang on. Okay. Quick hiatus. Quick hiatus. 1 second. Did Twitch change something? You want a spicy Twitch take? I wish ads were disabled on this platform. I hate them. And that's coming from someone who's a partner. And this is supposedly on the site to support me. And I wish you could just get rid of it. I do not want this, nor do most people on this site. I don't know if there's something I can do to change how ads are playing right now for you. I'll be honest. I'm trying to have a look to see if I can turn something off. Okay, there's an ad manager thing. Alright. It doesn't let me turn them off, but what I can do is I can space them so that it's 30 seconds an hour. That's the best I can do. I wish I could disable that. But there's not much else I can do. Alright. I wish that would just be deleted from the site. And I think that's most people on this platform. I don't care if they support me. I hate ads on this platform. Okay. Alright. Back to spicy takes, alright? Spicy takes. So Emerald is only D tier because I think the battle frontier in this game is overrated. I think a lot of people have good memories of the battle frontier in Emerald, but they really didn't actually participate in it. Some of the battle facilities are actually not that interesting or engaging. One of them is you pick 3 doors and you walk in them and then you fight a trainer and status problems carry over. It's kind of lame. Another one is that you're in a pyramid. There is things like the random battle facility, which I think is a bit cooler, but they implement those facilities in Gen 4 better than this game. I think it's massively overrated, and I think if people were still wanted to play that battle frontier in Emerald, they would still be playing it in Emerald, but they're not. They don't go back to play it. I think it's a massively overrated feature of the game. It's spicy, ain't it? Now, here's a weird one, right? Emerald, D tier. Ruby and Sapphire, F tier. Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, right? B. And the reason this one is so high is because a lot of the battle mechanics by the time this game came out have been fixed. The physical special split was a huge problem in Gen 3 that they didn't address until Gen 4. By the time this game came out, ghost types are actually viable. Electric types are actually viable. They've broken up the regions a little more and added some slight graphical tweaks to make them just a little more visually appealing. Even stuff like the abandoned ship has some new kind of tree layouts, and they do some new stuff with the Spiritomb in there to make it more interesting. You have things like Pokemon outbreaks across the region, which just make it a little bit more interesting. Mega Evolution is added in this game, and Mega Evolution is single-handedly one of the best battle mechanics they've ever added to Pokemon. It actually takes the spotlight in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, and it's fucking amazing for that. And let's not even forget the Delta episode of Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, which is some of the best Pokemon story-based content we've ever gotten in the franchise's history. That's why it's dramatically better than the games it's based on. I hated the original Gen 3, but I loved Alpha Sapphire when I played it. It has enough tweaks that fix the problems of those original games. It actually has a substantial post-game. You can fly about the region. You can catch a lot of legendary Pokemon. You have access to Pokemon of past generations. You're not locked out of them like you were in Emerald, like you were in Ruby and Sapphire. So it's a dramatic improvement. And it's one of the best Pokemon remakes they've ever done. The best Pokemon remake they've ever done is Heart Gold and Soul Silver. Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver is just one of the quality Pokemon games that you can ever play. Everything about it is just a wonderful time and experience. It is the best Generation 4 Pokemon game. It improves on Gold and Silver in pretty much every respect. Pokemon now follow you. The graphics have been improved dramatically. There are new legendary Pokemon added. There's new trainers, there's new encounters, there's new ways to rebattle a lot of gym leaders. There's a lot of remixed music. It's pretty much just Generation 2 of Pokemon, but significantly improved and better. It is a Pokemon game that you can go back and still play today, and you will have a wonderful time with it, and I would recommend it if you can still get a hold of it. Things like the Pokewalker, were, although a bit weird, was still a kind of cool way to squeeze a few more Pokemon into the game, and it kind of laid the groundwork for what would become some stuff like Pokemon Go later, which is kind of weird if you think about it in a way. It all goes back to a little pedometer in that Gen 4 game. But I think it's the best Pokemon remake that has just ever been made for Heart Gold and Soul Silver. The Johto region is fantastic. The only reason it's not an S tier, the only reason it is not S is because the Kanto region is a bit bland. The Kanto region, unfortunately, doesn't have as much stuff to do in it as they should have added. And this is a problem that Gold and Silver suffered from as well, where Kanto is basically just a grind fest where you do battle after battle after battle in uninteresting route after route after route. Half of Kanto is simply a grassland route with water. The other half is a cave. And that's it. And it unfortunately very much holds back Heart Gold and Soul Silver here, being the Johto remakes and having Kanto in it. It holds back the game. Unfortunately, there's a bit of like a level progression obstacle in Heart Gold and Soul Silver as well that should be noted. But I actually kind of like it in retrospect that there's not a lot of trainer battles, at least in the first half of the game, because it makes it very challenging come the Pokemon League. This game is very hard compared to a lot of Pokemon games. I think people forget that. Unless you actually go back and play it. Bugsy is a nightmare. Whitney's Milk Tank is a nightmare. The Steelix is a nightmare in Jasmine's fight. Chuck is a nightmare. Morty's Gengar is a nightmare. There's actually a lot of genuine hard Pokemon battles, and it's one of the most challenging games they have made, period, because of that. And I actually think that's a really good thing, because we want harder Pokemon games. One of the main criticisms in recent Pokemon games is that they've been too damn easy. This one's real hard. It's still a challenge today. If you ever want to do the most challenging kind of Pokemon Nuzlocke, Heart Gold and Soul Silver is actually where it's at. You'll really struggle. Not the hardest though. It's not the hardest, no. It's not the hardest. And this is going to give you a bit of insight into what I really value in a Pokemon game, okay? The best one, the absolute best Pokemon game ever made, is Pokemon Black and White 2. The reason for this is the region, like Unova, is one of the most realized Pokemon regions they've ever made in terms of variety. There's so much to see and do and explore. It is a region steeped in modernity, but also history. And there's a sense that a lot of history has progressed in this region. The Generation 5 Pokemon, I think, are some of the best Pokemon they've ever added to the franchise's history. It's just an incredible variety. It revamped competitive battling because there were so many interesting new forms and types that it just made it really refreshing. I think the reason Black and White 2 gets it in particular, though, is because of the challenge and the difficulty in this game. It actually is the only Pokemon game that has a dedicated challenge mode. If you turn on the dedicated challenge mode, everything in the game becomes harder. Gym leaders all get additional Pokemon on their teams. The Elite Four has revised teams. They have items on their teams. They have competitive movesets. They have better IVs. It's actually one of the most challenging Pokemon experiences you can find purely because the challenge mode exists. It's unfortunate in getting that challenge mode. You do have to beat the game once through, but when you have it, it is above and beyond anything else in the franchise. The post-game is one of the most realized kind of post-games, I think, in any Pokemon game too. It is more interesting than Heart Gold and Soul Silver's post-game. There is actually stuff to do in the routes that you go back to. There is events, there is weekly battles, there is monthly battles, there is seasonal changes in the game. It has so much content. It offers a huge battle tree where it's just 10 floors of new challenges where you can level up your Pokemon. It offers the chance to fight Cynthia, the champion of Generation 4. It offers a huge kind of underwater section that you can kind of go and explore, get some money from. In the Undella Bay. It's just nice to kind of explore and just revisit from time to time. It features the best soundtrack of any Pokemon game. And I'm mentioning all these positive traits of the game without even mentioning that it builds off the best story in Pokemon's franchise, that is Black and White. It is a sequel to that, but also the Pokemon World Tournament. Black and White 2 features every single gym leader and every single champion in the entire Pokemon franchise in one place where you can fight them all with revamped teams, competitive strategies, and remixed music. It is the best feature that has ever been put in a Pokemon game. Period. It is better than any Battle Frontier they have ever done. Except Koga. Okay, they missed Koga. Alright. we missed Koga. I honestly think it's the best one ever made, though. I love the modern take on Pokemon. Like, they brought Pokemon into a modern world. I know a lot of people do not like Black and White 2 because they're biased against Gen 5's Pokemon. They look at things like the trash bag Pokemon, they look at things like the ice cream Pokemon. The shock horror is every generation of Pokemon has shit Pokemon. You want to talk shit Pokemon? Generation 1 has a Pokeball that is a Pokemon. It evolves by turning upside down. Generation 1 has a fridge magnet that's a Pokemon. It evolves by sticking onto 2 other fridge magnets. Like, there's a Generation 1 has a Pokemon that's literally just a set of eggs. It's just a set of eggs. That's it. They have one that's just a polygon. They have a snake Pokemon called Ekans that is just snake spelt backwards. Every Pokemon has its... Well, every generation has its bad Pokemon. And people are very fixated on, like, 3 in Gen 5, I feel. That is the bag of trash and the ice cream Pokemon. For the bag of trash, I will defend him. He's better than a pile of sludge that we got in Gen 1. It's literally just a pile of sludge. And I think the ice cream Pokemon, it's better than a seal called Seal. They didn't even try with that one. It's a seal called Seal. It's more creative. I think it's way more interesting. The Pokemon stats are actually more interesting as well for a lot of Generation 5 Pokemon. And Black and White 2 also deserves special praise because the roster of Pokemon that is available is simply fantastic. They bring back a lot of favorites in this game in particular and throw it into the Gen 5 mix. If you want to catch a Mario at the start of the game, an Eevee at the start of the game, a Lucario at the start of the game, you can just go do that. It's there. The range of Pokemon actually available is astounding. They also made collecting the Pokemon by region way more fun and interesting because they actually have a regional dex that narrows down on each specific route, and there's rewards and medals for completing those as you go through the game. This game is also the first Pokemon game with an achievement system in it, which just gives you a bit more incentive to actually do stuff and explore in the region. It also has a kind of interesting kind of side game to it that is Pokestar Studios. You can make it's just a kind of mini game thing where you make a movie in a Pokemon game. And it's fun and goofy and silly, but that's all that kind of really needs to be. The point with Black and White 2 is there is so much content in the game that it's just worth playing. The post-game for it is absolutely the best one. The only point that it suffers is arguably the story, just because Black and White has a better story. It is much more interesting, and this is also the sequel, and it requires a bit of knowledge of Black and White to properly appreciate. That's the only unfortunate aspect of it, but in terms of gameplay, it's the best one. And speaking of Black and White, that's gonna go on par with Heart Gold and Soul Silver. I think Black and White 2 is better in terms of gameplay, but I still think Black and White is absolutely a solid game. The most controversial thing with this game when it came out is that you had no access to the old Pokemon. I think that's one of the best decisions they've ever made with a Pokemon game. If you have played all of the Pokemon games through, here's the way I look at it, and suppose your favorite Pokemon is Gengar. Gen 1, you used a Gengar. Gen 2, you used a Gengar. Gen 3, you used a Gengar. Gen 4, you used a Gengar. Gen 5, you could not. And your Pokemon team is actually going to be a bit more distinct and interesting because of that. And I think that actually makes for a significantly more memorable experience because you're thrust into the deep end of the pool here. You don't have your old favorites to rely on. It's going to be something new. You have to try a new flavor of Pokemon this time. And that makes for a much more memorable experience. And that almost brings you back to the original experience of what Pokemon was when everything was new and exciting. And we very rarely get that in a Pokemon game. Mechanically, I think it's actually very good because of that. I didn't even mention with Gen 5 games as well. For the battles, they're actually the fastest battles in the entire franchise. You can compare battles, animation speeds, and times with Gen 5 to other Pokemon games. Everything is actually very smooth and operates faster. Correct me if I'm wrong here. I think the battles play at 60 FPS as well. Correct me if I'm wrong there, but they actually are alarmingly smooth. There wasn't really much of a performance issue that we had in these Pokemon games that have plagued almost every Pokemon game since then. And it's animated sprites as well, which look amazing. Animated sprites are incredible. And let's not even mention the story of Black and White, which is a huge component of it, which carries it really high here. The story of Black and White is actually very compelling because it's a bit more interesting than just evil team trying to take over the world. You actually have an innocent villain who kind of believes in what he's doing, where Pokemon should not be used by trainers. And that's his philosophy that he stands for, to the extent that a legendary Pokemon in the game accepts him, because he's so true to that idea. This is one of the few Pokemon games where the evil team's not just going to catch a legendary Pokemon and abuse the shit out of it to take over the universe. He's actually recognized as a hero for what he believes in, and the legendary Pokemon joins his side, which is a very interesting take. N is the antagonist of the game, but he's almost more like an anti-hero, and he's just interested in how he comes across to the player because a lot of what he's saying isn't strictly wrong. He's just had a kind of like a warped perspective on what Pokemon are in relation to people. It's more interesting though than just use Pokemon, take over the world. Even Team Plasma with their goals are not about that. They're hypocrites because they're basically like an angry PETA that are using Pokemon to liberate Pokemon, you know? But like, it's just a bit more of an interest and like ambition of an evil team incorporated into the story, I think, than the generic "let's take over the world" arc that is almost in every single other Pokemon game. Ghetsis is a bit generic, but he's a kind of psychopath come the end anyway, and he makes for an interesting villain. It's not to mention the arcs of your rivals in this game as well, where they actually have some very interesting character development. One of your rivals literally gives up on their dreams of becoming the best trainer because they realize they're weak. And they realize that this is probably not the career path for them. They give up. And that is actually a lot more interesting in terms of a character arc than we've had in some games. She finds new purpose in becoming like kind of a professor's assistant as the game goes on. The professor in this game as well is much more involved. The gym leaders are much more involved. The region actually feels alive in compared to a lot of Pokemon games. A lot of Pokemon games have this idea where you go from gym to gym to gym, you're doing the gym challenge, and an evil team strikes, stop the plot. Stop the plot, address the evil team, go back to the gym challenge now. Black and White actually integrates the two, and it's the only Pokemon game that actually does that. You don't even fight the champion come the climax of this game. The champion is actually a post-game bit of content that you have to go back and do if you are interested in. They don't matter, they take a back seat. The final boss of this game is N, which is significantly more interesting, I think. They've actually merged the gameplay with the story for once, rather than tacking on a villain arc to beat every gym story. And I think that's just significantly more interesting. I think Black and White is much more memorable of a Pokemon game going back to it. You have a significantly more interesting team. The region stands so far apart from everything else as well because they tried to go for a really modern feel. And it was the first game to ever try and do that huge modern feel. Everything else is sort of a bit more traditional. I'm just reading the chat at the moment as well, just to get some of your takes. Seasons changing the world. Yeah, there's cool replay value even in that. Black and White as well, although it doesn't give you access to the old Pokemon initially, it gives you the means to transfer them, and once you beat the game, you can actually catch a lot of the old Pokemon in the wild, so they still kind of integrate it that way. Black and White 2, I think, still has a strictly better post-game than Black and White. I don't think there's any contest there. But Black and White, I still think, is a very solid Pokemon game, and in terms of like a mainline story progression Pokemon game, I think it's the best one. Absolutely. And only uses Pokemon you get en route, implying he releases them after fighting you. You see, it's actually confirmed that he does this because if you link Black and White to Black and White 2, you can actually go back and catch N's Pokemon. They appear in the wild, based on the ones that he used in the fights up until the final confrontation. So he absolutely just borrows Pokemon from the world. I think it's just kind of like a cooler concept as well. So he's not just trying to catch them, which kind of backs up his belief and philosophy. Because he's less of a hypocrite than like Team Plasma is. He's still a bit of a hypocrite. He's still a bit, because he's still kind of using Pokemon when he believes that they should be free. But he's kind of becoming friends with them, more so. It's like a different kind of relationship that he has. It's just more interesting. I think it really stands out when you go back and look at it. The game's got a lot of hate when they came out, because you couldn't access the old Pokemon and the region was different. But those are almost the biggest selling points of it. When you look at it in the grand sum of things, it stands out so nicely compared to everything else. And it's really kind of memorable experience to kind of go back and have. Black and White 2 feel like they're the ultimate game, especially with the tournament. I believe they are the best Pokemon game. There is just so much in it, and specifically there is a lot of post-game in Black and White 2. Even with like kind of like you have daily Pokemon outbreaks, you have the Hollows, you can go back and fight Colress, you can go back and fight N, you have the Battle Tree and all like the facilities there, the Pokemon Tournament. You can go and make movies. There's even a Pokemon Black and White 2 is also the first Pokemon game that actually had a tangible reward for completing the Pokédex beyond a certificate. If you complete the Pokédex in this game, you get the Shiny Charm. That was only introduced in that game. And you get a shiny Haxorus, guaranteed for doing it. So you actually get 2 rewards. Wait, what? Yes. No, it's true. It was the first Pokemon game with the shiny charm. And it gives you a guaranteed shiny Haxorus if you complete it. You can also, if you complete the battle tree, or like it's like the battle tree or the battle skyscraper in the town difference. That's the thing. Between black and white, there's town differences, and the routes are actually significantly different. So you have White Forest and Black City. But depending on which one you beat, you get either a shiny Dratini or a shiny Gibble if you make it to the top. Extra incentive for actually playing the game through until the very end. And let's not mention some of the revisions of Gen 5 mechanics too, one of the biggest ones being TMs are no longer single use. That alone has been one of the best mechanic changes they've ever made in the franchise, and Gen 5 did it first. And you still have a battle facility on top of that as well, yes, with the battle subway. You still have that. You have another Pokemon minigame in the form of the musicals. You have a rebattle, like a trainer rebattle arena with the sports domes. You have kind of like weekly and monthly events. Like there's a rival that you can trade Pokemon with and get things that are outside of the Pokedex. Like it just keeps going with Black and White too in terms of the amount of content. The philosophy was to stuff literally as much as humanly possible into that game. I'm back on Black and White 2, mentioned in Black and White. I was trying to position Black and White. The two I recommend taken together. I think they are some of the best Pokemon experiences, just period, in the franchise. There's a lot of crossover. Black and White has the better story. Black and White 2 has the better post-game. And like the better gameplay experience overall. But to appreciate Black and White 2, you have to play Black and White, or I would at least recommend it, because a lot of the points strike home if you do that. My dream game, if it was to ever be made, would be a remake of the Generation 5 Pokemon games with the art style of Octopath Traveler, if you've ever seen that game. I want them to keep the sprites if they ever remaster it. Okay, that's enough Gen 5 talk. Where are we going next? Let's change course a bit. The Pokemon games on this list that I have never played. Ultra Sun and Moon, and Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness. So, Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness, full disclaimer for it, I own this game, I simply never got round to playing it. Just never got round to it. We'll get the Pokemon Colosseum soon. Ultra Sun and Moon is the only mainline Pokemon game I have ever skipped. Because I just didn't see the point in getting it compared to Sun and Moon in terms of gameplay tweaks and differences. Now, from what I understand, there are standout bits of those games. They add a sort of replay value in this Ultra Wormhole mechanic, but I have not played it myself. It's the only one I've ever skipped, because I just wasn't interested enough. To each their own there. To each their own. For Sun and Moon? Sun and Moon. Where is it? Sun and Moon, I think it's about a C. I think it's about middle of the pack. Maybe a B. Maybe a B. It's debatable. It's like a C+. Generation 7 has a lot of cool aesthetic tweaks. Like the setting of Hawaii for it and its surrounding islands is actually wonderful. It's a radical departure. The soundtrack for the games is simply wonderful. There is a okay-ish amount of post-game content in Sun and Moon. It's only okay-ish. You have a battle tree in this where you can fight a select assortment of trainers from past games. It's no Pokemon World Tournament, but they bring some of them back. The story is one of the stronger points of it. Lily is one of the best realized Pokemon characters they've ever made, and she's central to the plot of Sun and Moon. She has proper character development as the game goes on. The villain is actually quite unsettling in this game too. Team Skull, I think, is one of the best evil teams just in any Pokemon game. They're so lovable. Like they're just a bunch of hooligans who get into trouble, and you can even go to their hideout in terms of locale, like kind of as you explore, and it's just like an abandoned kind of slum with like graffiti and spray paint everywhere. It's wonderful in terms of aesthetics. I think what holds Sun and Moon back so much compared to anything else is the pacing. I think the pacing is really problematic in this game. It's literally, you walk 10 feet and Hop stops you, and you walk 10 feet and Evil Team stops you, and you walk 10 feet and the Professor stops you, and you walk 10 feet. Oh, sorry, it's not even Hop, it's How. Sorry. You see, How... You understand why I don't like Hop so much as well, because he stops you a lot as well. How is like proto-Hop. Are you guys getting another fucking ad? I don't know what to do with that. Why are you getting so many? Four ads. What the fuck? They can't hear me right now, can they? Why is it running so many damn ads? Some people are only getting one. I'm so sorry for people who are getting hit by ads. Yeah, like, I tried to turn things off my end if I could. Here, let's give him a moment just to catch up, okay? 2-minute break. 2-minute break. I want to just try to get some of them back. I really hate Twitch's standpoint on ads. The ad density is currently set, so it's like 30 seconds an hour. Just so you guys, like, that's literally as low as I can make it. I can't turn them off. I'm not allowed, unfortunately. As in, there's no option. Ads over. Welcome back. It's good to see us. It's good to have you back. Yeah. So apologies about that. I shouldn't have to apologize on behalf of the platform I'm live streaming on, but here we are. Spicy take. The platform would be better without him. And it should be an opt-in, opt-out feature for each streamer on the platform. Okay. Carry on. Sun and Moon, I think the problem is pacing. You are stopped just way too often in these games. And it feels like every time you're given a moment to go out and explore the world, like, you have to meet up with, like, Lily and How and the Professor and Team Skull, and a gym leader comes in, and then you have the rival, and you have Guzma, and, like, there's just, you stopped, like, every 30 seconds, and it really suffers because of that, I think. It's unfortunately one of the weaker aspects of it. The other weaker aspect, I would argue, is the post-game is a bit... It's okay. It's interesting in terms of it dips its toes into this idea of a Pokemon multiverse again, which is always quite cool. I love when they, like, kind of dabble with those ideas. But once you've done it for, like, 2 hours, it just ends, and that's it. And then the game's kind of over. And there's nothing really new again, and that's like it's kind of unfortunate because it feels like it just never got the space to breathe in that game, and there's no new real routes that are added or like anything really like kind of significant to explore once you actually finish the game. You get like one kind of post-game route that you can kind of go on into, and that's it. It's like one of the canyon areas, I believe. Again, it's weird because it's like. It would be much higher. This is why I'm hesitant to put it here. And I want to kind of make it like a C+ or maybe even a B. This game introduced regional variants. The regional variants are so cool. And it's one of the best features that they've ever implemented in Pokemon's history. Like Alolan Raichu, lovable. Alolan Dugtrio, it's Dugtrio but with hair. Alolan Ninetales, I think is like the cooler form of Ninetales. Alolan Marowak. Marowak's actually useful now. And, like, that is so good. That mechanic is one of, like, the best things. But it's just unfortunate that the game itself is paced the way it is. Because it just slows the experience down to a crawl. Like, I appreciate a lot of what Sun and Moon does. But I would not like to play Sun and Moon again. I think that's my takeaway. Like, I love what it does. Like, even with the character customization in that, where it is just fully, like, kind of customizable cosmetics and that's back from X and Y. The regional variants and that, it's all very cool. I love that. But I don't really want to go back and play Sun and Moon just because it's a very slow experience to play. Like, it could definitely be higher. If the pacing was good in Sun and Moon, right? If the pacing was better, and suppose they just said, here's another island for the post-game, this would be This would be right up there with some of the best Pokemon games. But the problems that it has are significant enough that it really holds it back, unfortunately. I would say. Also, who gives a shit about Z-moves? Come on, Megas are better. Hang on, I'm losing my audio now. Just 1 second. If we're not struggling with ads, and apparently we're struggling with my sound setup. Speaking of games where I appreciate the mechanic changes, but I don't want to play them again, Pokemon X and Y is D. Mega Evolutions is the single best spice-up mechanic that they've ever introduced in the franchise. I love it so much, but the Kalos region is quite vanilla. The story of it is forgettable. I can't even remember, like, my 4 rivals' names in this game. Team Flare is a boring team of villains. It's a generic, I'm going to take over the world plotline. The champion is very forgettable. She's not very interesting. And there are huge bits of the game that just feel like they're missing or they're locked off, or there was supposed to be, like, a Pokemon Z version that dabbled in it. Because there's almost no post-game to this. There is an episode that you get with Looker that is very good. Is the best part of the game, I would say. But just getting there is just a slog, I think. And it's got a lot of forgettable characters. This story of the 3,000-year-old war and the meme of like, it's been 3,000 years. Like, it's just, who cares about any of that, you know? And also, this game commits a cardinal sin, I think, in terms of the franchise, with the Gen 1 nostalgia pandering that has been rampant ever since. This game goes too hard on dipping your toes back to Gen 1 and evoking memories of Gen 1 that a lot of the new Pokemon do not get a chance to shine the spotlight and have been robbed of the attention they deserve. No Generation 6 Pokemon actually get a Mega Evolution in this game, which is criminal. They give all of them to Generation 1 Pokemon. Well, no, they don't give them all the Gen 1 Pokemon, but mostly Gen 1. Like, they do it to the extent that you not only pick a Gen 6 starter, but you take a Gen 1 starter as well. The new Pokemon are being robbed of any chance in the spotlight, and because of that, they're not even that memorable. Just because it's constant kind of just pandering, I think. It's unfortunate that it went that way, because Black and White, and even Black and White 2, did an excellent job of thrusting you into a new sort of world where there's a lot of unknown elements. Whereas this felt just very tame. A lot of the routes are even back to kind of being a bit uninteresting, where a lot of them are just kind of grassy fieldlands. And it's okay-ish world to explore. It's not really the most interesting. A lot of it you're on a Rhyhorn and you move very slowly through the terrain. Now again, I appreciate also the fairy type that they introduced in this game. That made a lot of Pokemon more interesting. But I can still appreciate that outside of Pokemon X and Y, I reckon. That's the thing. And it's like, I don't need to play Pokemon X and Y specifically to appreciate the fairy typing. I think they're just a weaker Pokemon experience. Like, there's not a lot of post-game, too. Like, you have a special episode, you go catch Mewtwo, and you go catch a legendary bird. That's it. You know? Like, there's really not much. And it's kind of lackluster. The games are also way too easy. This was the first one that introduced the experience share, like, kind of give experience to all your party mechanic. But, like, even if you don't use it, it's just too easy. Like, your Pokemon are vastly overleveled. Pokemon Z was actually in the works, but scrapped it. I think a Pokemon Z would have saved it. I think a Pokemon Z is what the game needed, because it just felt like something was missing. You can even look at the map of the game where there's like these big left, right, and top regions, and then you look at like the southern part of it, and it's just empty. And there's nothing there, and it feels like there was supposed to be something more there. This was also the Pokemon game where a lot of caves and that started to go down in quality. A lot of dungeons were significantly reduced. Like, you couldn't really explore them anymore. It was kind of just corridor simulator the dungeon. And that also kind of makes the game suffer a bit. It's not as interesting to kind of explore the environment. There's really not as much to do in these games, unfortunately. And that's why the best Generation 6 game is Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, because again, you still have the Mega Evolution mechanics, but they actually made it more interesting. They gave you more shit to do, which I just think is it's a much better experience. Also, don't forget the roller skates in X and Y. If you play with the circle pad, you're on roller skates and you can barely control your movement. Otherwise, you have to use the D-pad and you're locked to tile-based movement. Wasn't that a fun mechanic? Also, this is the first Pokemon game that lagged a lot. If you do a double battle, the game lags. Wow, that's a great feature. Yeah, so it's kind of one of the weaker Pokemon games. It's kind of one of the weaker ones. Okay, let's get another one in. I guess we can take Pokemon Gold and Silver and Crystal. I mean, where would they be? Because like these games are just kind of old, and there are like kind of better ones to play. Like maybe we just pop them down here. These games, while they were like kind of great for the time, like now actually pop them in C maybe. Yeah, I'd pop them maybe in C. Maybe C, as I think it just. I'm trying to think about it myself. It's either C or D. I feel like these ones are in between somewhere. There's almost no reason to play these games in comparison to Heart Gold and Soul Silver, but they are still like really substantial Pokemon games in terms of the amount of content that you actually have to do. These are Pokemon games where you can actually get quite lost in the world, and they introduced that idea. With Gold and Silver, it's the first Pokemon games where you could actually like kind of do gym leaders in like kind of like a really odd order. You could go to like Gym 7 if you want it and just kind of ignore like Gyms 5 and 6 for a very substantial point of the game. The game like opens up significantly as you go along, and like the actual landscape is a lot more interesting than say Kanto's blandness. Like here you have some very deep tunnels. You have these very dark caves. You have like kind of like an ice patch in it. You have Mount Silver where it's just like this huge colossal labyrinth for you to explore. There's a lot of content still in these games. Now I feel like these are C or D. I feel like they're kind of in the middle of the pack. I don't think there's that much reason to kind of play them compared to Heart Gold and Soul Silver anymore. But Generation 2 was just a quality Pokemon experience. It was strictly better than just like Generation 1 that came before it, I think. Just in terms of the amount of content that you had for the time. It was a bit of a battle fest then, yes, and the Kanto region still suffers. But there's just a lot of good shit in it. They introduced the idea of even breeding Pokemon and stuff like that, which is quite good. C-. I'm gonna go a half measure and just put Gold, Silver there, and then Crystal here. No, I don't think there's enough to distinguish them. I think maybe we put them on par, I think we put them on par. I'll give them a C. I'll be kind. Okay? I'll be kind. I think they're better than Emerald, so yeah. Okay. I'm gonna turn the music up a bit my end. Yeah, Heart Gold and Soul Silver are definitely the standouts. Like, there's not too much reason to go back and play them, but they are still very solid Pokemon games if you simply can't find this one. If you want a true nostalgic experience, there is almost something unique, just in terms of the landscape that is offered, and just a lot of content there. Too much water in Emerald. There's too much water in Alpha and Sapphire. Like, honestly, like that's bottom for me. What are the bottom ones? These I haven't played, but then there's Red and Blue, Yellow, and Ruby and Sapphire. Some hot takes there. Curse me, you're not wearing a suit. It's irrelevant. Shinies got introduced in that game too. Why is Emerald in D? I think Emerald is horribly overrated. The biggest quality of Emerald that people hammer home is the Battle Frontier, and I don't think it's actually that interesting of a Battle Frontier. It had 7 modes, I think, for the sake of saying that it had a lot of modes, and not because they were interesting. The Battle Frontier in pretty much the Gen 4 games is better in every respect than the Battle Frontier in Emerald. I think it's very overrated. Again, controversial Pokemon takes, right? You do not have to agree with me at all, but I'm giving you my opinion. I think like the original Gen 3 is hugely overrated. I don't think it's as good. The other Gen 3 Pokemon game to address though, right? Fire Red and Leaf Green. Of the Gen 3 games, I think that is the best one. I think it's the best version of Kanto that they've done. And what sets Fire Red and Leaf Green apart from the others is the islands that they add in. There's actual new content in this game that is unique to these games and is not... Oh god, sorry, what was I about to say? There's actual new content that's unique to these games. Let me phrase that point again. There's actual new content that is unique to these games that you can go back and experience. It's actually quite interesting. It introduces some of the Pokemon that weren't available in Fire Red and Leaf Green originally as well. And I think it just makes for a significantly more interesting region to explore because of that. I think it's the best realized version that we've had of the Gen 1 games. Because you basically get to a point where you're doing the gym challenge, but then you hop off and you explore, and it actually has substantial post-game because you can just go explore more of those islands and you unlock more of them specifically after you beat the game. That just gives you some more stuff to do. In terms of post-game content, I think that's more interesting. You might notice that I value post-game content a lot in my rankings. My justification for that is you're going to spend the majority of your time playing specifically in the post-game. You play the main campaign, it will last you about 30 hours. If you're going to get 100 hours out of a Pokemon game, that's specifically post-game. And it's about 70 hours of that time is spent there. So the more post-game content that it has, I think in the long run it makes for a better Pokemon game because you've just got more shit to do. That's what is something that I value quite highly. Like, the only exception to it here really is Black and White, but that's just because the mechanic changes that Black and White is doing and the specific gameplay where you're using new Pokemon, tied with a very good story, pushes it very far above, even if the post-game is a bit lackluster. Fire Red and Leaf Green do actually have a quite interesting post-game in terms of the islands. There actually is stuff to do and to go explore. And it is kind of a return surprise if you're going back to play a Kanto game. I think it's the more interesting of like kind of the Kanto games. I like 200 hours in Platinum for the post-game because I spent so much time in the Underground. I mean, the Underground, we'll get to the Underground soon. The Underground is cool, yeah. No, but things like that, features like that add a lot of value to these games, I think. Some other reasons why Gen 3 is low here, but Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire is higher. Secret base mechanic changes. Let's bear that in mind. Secret bases, how they worked before is you had to specifically use a link cable to connect to your friends to actually get their secret base in your game. The technology wasn't quite there. But come Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, that has been solved. And if you're just friends with someone, you can now get their secret base. If you put their 3DS in your pocket and you walk past someone on the street, you get their secret base. That mechanic is now completely revived in those games and realized so much better than it was in the original Gen 3 games. And it's almost another point to actually praise it. Can't forget as well the Generation 6 interface. I know X and Y again is down, but the Gen 6 interface was actually one of the better ones where you could just click on shit instantly on the touchscreen and do what you want. You could just Wonder Trade instantly. You could just instantly battle someone. There was just less faffing about in menus. It's definitely the best Generation 6 game out of the lot. I think that's way better than X and Y in a lot of ways. Because like X and Y, again, there's just no post-game. So like you're just not going to spend a lot of time on it. Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, hey, there's post-game. instantly way more interesting. And speaking of more interesting, right? Speaking of more interesting, Pokemon Legends Arceus. This is probably the most refreshing Pokemon game they've ever made in terms of mechanics. I'm leaning between a B and an A. I'm leaning between a B and an A for Legends Arceus. And I think I'm more inclined to maybe give it the A. It is a wholly unique Pokemon experience in Legends Arceus. It's finally the idea of it being an open world Pokemon game somewhat being realized, even if like the structure of the mainline Pokemon game is very different and very revised in this game. The way that you actually engage with Pokemon in this game is the best in any Pokemon game they've made, in my opinion. Battles are actually very fast. You can just go out and catch Pokemon if you so choose. You just catch them straight away. It's the most interesting Pokemon game to actually complete the Pokedex in, where it feels like way less of a chore, and you almost kind of want to go out and do it because there's not so much a barrier to entry. It has quality of life changes too in Legends Arceus, where you no longer need to trade with your friends to evolve certain Pokemon. One of the roadblocks for completing the Pokedex in pretty much every Pokemon game that has come before this one is you have to trade with a friend to complete the Pokedex. Legends Arceus said no to that. And it's the only Pokemon game where you actually don't have to do it. There's literally no other game. Every other one requires a friend, and if you're a loner, like myself, you can't finish the Pokedex, and it can be a very frustrating experience. Legends Arceus doesn't lock you out of any content. The world I think is quite interesting to explore simply because of the huge volume of Pokemon that are in it. I love exploring it just to see what you get. In terms of post-game content, the shiny hunting is just there, and I think that actually carries it because the capture rates are so high. It's a huge feature almost of the game. But you know, thinking about that, I'm actually going to drop it to a B. Here's why I'm dropping it to a B. While the twist on gameplay mechanics is there, and it's one of the most refreshing Pokemon games out there, right? Once you complete all the missions, your post-game content is very much so your shiny hunt. Okay? And suppose you don't like that. What do you play here? Like, it's a very good mechanic. It's the best catching experience in any Pokemon game I think they've ever realized. But if you want to do something other than catch Pokemon, you're in significant trouble in this game. You don't even have a lot of trainer battles. Like, the battle facility is very limited compared to some of these other Pokemon games. The more I think about, like, the way I'm trying to justify it and think about it in my head is this game a Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver? And the answer is no. The answer is no. I think it's very hard to compete with that. In terms of variety, I think it's very hard to compete with that. There is a new update. Yes, there is a new update. I've yet to play the new update. So maybe this ranking might change, right? Maybe it might change. If it's an interesting enough battle facility with enough tweaks, maybe that changes. But I think for now, because I'm trying to be very strict on these rankings, right? And I'm trying to get like a proper list. I don't want just everything to be like another A, another A, another A. I want to distinguish these quite solidly. So I'm going to put it in B tier for the moment. I think putting it on par with Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire is actually remarkable praise. Because look at my list here. Pokemon like Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire is one of the best Pokemon games ever made according to my list. I think that's a good ranking there. Considering how short a time it's been out too. I think I need a bit more time with it to kind of justify it going to an A, but a B is pretty damn good. A B is pretty damn good. Now, okay, so this one is wild, right? Pokemon Sword and Shield. I did a Let's Play of this game where I had a rough time. I had a real rough time. I think people are going to be very surprised where this one goes. I don't think you're ready. I don't think you're ready. It's a B tier. It's a B tier. And the reason it goes up to B is purely because of the DLC content. The main game of Sword and Shield, bear with me on this, is one of the worst Pokemon experiences I have ever had. The region is so linear, it is painful to explore, it holds your hand at every single point. The main characters are so damn obnoxious. The main plot of the game is absolutely stupid and ridiculous. Basically, a man turns evil because he literally can't wait a day to resolve an energy crisis that will happen in 1,000 years. It is the worst story of the game. It has some of the worst characters ever introduced into the franchise. The DLC single-handedly saves it. Because the Isle of Armor and the Crown Tundra are incredibly fun to explore. They single-handedly save the game. And when you're in those regions, paired with the new the mechanical changes and the refinements that it's made through the franchise up until this point, things like the nature mints being added, things like competitive being more accessible than it has ever possibly been, because it's on a Switch, it's on a console that a lot of people have and a lot of people are playing, paired with things like the max raids and how the max raid dungeons and how you can just keep exploring them, how it's actually a really fun post-game mechanic and system that they've implemented into these games, paired with things like the huge legendary hunt emphasis that comes with the Crown Tundra, paired with things like how you can access Alolan regional forms in the Isle of Armor DLC. Those open world environments where you can actually kind of freely move the camera about now, and there's a bit of stuff to actually do around the world, specifically the Crown Tundra there. Crown Tundra, did I mention the Crown Tundra? Like, the DLC for this game, no joke, is taking Sword and Shield from an F to a B. That's how good it is. The Crown Tundra is one of the single best pieces of Pokemon content, just period, that has ever been in a Pokemon game. And I think that really saves it. I have more hours in Sword and Shield compared to most Pokemon games. And it's simply because I love that max raid feature and just exploring it. You can shiny hunt in it. You can chase legendaries in it. It's a fun mechanic. How many times have we streamed this game compared to the other Pokemon games? Think about it. Think about how much time I've actually spent in Sword and Shield. There are so many stupid decisions with this game. Wasted time on things like a fucking curry dex of all things. That's like not even a fun or engaging minigame. Yet that system in the Crown Tundra is that good that I would place it on par with those other games in terms of post-game content. It adds a significant amount, and when you pair it with things like the most refined mechanic, Galarian forms, Alolan forms, all that coming together, you put it up there. The DLC isn't free, no it's not, but I would strongly recommend getting it. Paid DLC, I'm fully aware. It's damn good DLC though. It's damn good DLC. It's paid, yes I'm aware. Buy it in a bundle, buy it when it goes on sale. It still gets there. Crown Tundra is that good, and I would absolutely recommend it. Controversial Pokemon opinions. Everyone was thinking I'd put that one as an F. Like, make no joke, like, this is a game where I hate most of the characters. I hate the story in it. I don't really like Team Yell. I think they're kind of, like, uninteresting. It has one of the most contrived, stupid plots, and yet it's so high. Because it's a modern, refined Pokemon experience, and the DLC is that good. I'm sorry about the ads, guys. I really can't do anything. I've tried to stop them. There's nothing I can do, unfortunately. Give him a moment. Give him a moment to come on back. Yeah, I am sorry about it. This isn't me just trying to say, like, hey, if you subscribe, you get to skip the ads. Like, no, it's just kind of obnoxious and annoying. What tier is the DLC without the games? Did I get different ratings? Ava, thank you for 1,000 bits. Crown Tundra would be... I would still give the Crown Tundra a B. Without the DLC for Sword and Shield, it's bottom. Absolute bottom. Without that, like, bottom of the pack, oh my god, it's horrendous. With the DLC, it goes all that way up. I told you it'd be controversial. You don't have to agree with something that I praise highly either. But I think the DLC for that game is some of the best Pokemon content that has ever been made. And here's the thing, Legends Arceus probably wouldn't exist without that DLC as well, because Legends Arceus basically built off that idea. Why doesn't it average to a C though? No, I think the DLC, because the DLC is in this game, so I put it there. The thing is, because like, a lot of things like the new Gen 8 Pokemon are actually really cool. The Galarian forms are actually really cool. What holds it back is mainly just an obnoxious story and a boring region. Like the base game region is just so terrible to actually explore. Everything is a corridor. I hate Hop, I hate Leon. At the same time though, I actually really like Marnie. And Bede is actually a lovable rival because he's just an asshole to you. More interesting characters there. And I think they're actually kind of cool. The idea of the gym challenge too and the hype that surrounds it, it's the most interesting gym battles I think that we've had in a Pokemon game. Maybe second only to Sun and Shield. But Sun and Moon. Like, it's actually quite a hyped up battle. Dynamax is a stupid mechanic, but when you get into the stadium and you have this music playing, just listen to it. It's pretty hype. It's like the music for this game is really good too. And you gotta give it some credit there. Like, that's bopping music. That gets you really pumped for a Pokemon battle. Again, the Gen 8 Pokemon they added, they're really cool Pokemon. I like a lot of the Gen 8 Pokemon. But yeah, so I'm giving that a B. Controversial tier list. These are my opinions. You don't have to agree. That's fine. I told you it'd be controversial. You want to see something else that's controversial? Pokemon Colosseum. Pokemon Colosseum. I'd only give a D. So Pokemon Colosseum, I think, is a Pokemon game where the concept and idea of the game is better than the actual game. I love the premise of Colosseum, where it's like you're kind of like a turned rogue or turned good evil team person. And you're like stealing other, like the evil team's Pokemon to use them against them. But the pacing of the game is actually horrifically slow. The world's actually not that good. There's almost no post-game content. The only bit of post-game content you actually have in this game is purely like the 100 battle challenge. And that's it. There's almost nothing else for you to do. And I think, I don't know, it's not that fun to go back and play, I think. I think it's actually like a quite painfully slow Pokemon game. Now, it's cool, and the reason that it's memorable and loved is because, holy shit, it's a 3D Pokemon game, and it's like kind of different. You know, and that's a cool concept. But like, this is a Pokemon game where you can only catch like 40 Pokemon. And it, like, other than stealing like the Pokemon battle and like kind of stealing the Pokemon and purifying them, it's just trainer battle, trainer battle, trainer battle, trainer battle, trainer battle until the end of the game, you know? So I'm only giving it a D because I don't think it's on par with Sun and Moon. My logic is if I was to pick one of those to go back and play, I'd probably rather do Sun and Moon. I'd rather do it. Because I think Sun and Moon has a bit more of a drive and plot, even if it's holding your hand a lot. Amazing OST though, it does have a good OST. Yeah, that's one of the better parts of it. But in terms of content, there's just not a lot there. It suffers from the problem that Pokemon X and Y does, where when you go through the game, what do you do next? It's like, okay, I beat the game. Let me battle 100 times in a row. If I don't want to do that, I have nothing left to do. And that's why I think Colosseum's only a D. That's why I think it's there. So let's keep going. You may know we're saving Gen 4 to last, I think. Gen 4 is going to be a hard one to place. I think Pokemon Let's Go. Pokemon Let's Go, I think, is a D tier as well. I think it's an okay Pokemon experience. It's a D, low C. I think the problem with Let's Go in particular is the Kanto region is still very bland. There's just not a lot going on. Like, it's grass field into grass field into the occasional cage. Cave. There's a bit of ocean to make it a bit more interesting, but like it's just so vanilla, I think, compared to a lot of them. Now, credit where it's due, this is the most refined vanilla experience, I think, of any Pokemon game. Like, if you just want a nostalgic kind of Gen 1 experience, this is actually very good for it. I personally am a bit more biased to Fire Red and Leaf Green, because I just think there's a little more interesting content happening in that game compared to Let's Go. But it's like, the logic I have with Let's Go as well is when Sword and Shield came out, I never went back to this game because I didn't really see the point. It's cool that the Pokemon walk about in the overworld, and it even introduced that concept, but every Pokemon game since then has just been better in terms of execution, I think. Pretty much all of them. Like Sword and Shield, like, yep, they're walking about now, it's cooler. Legends Arceus, yep, they're walking about, it's cooler. You know, it introduced that concept, which I'm thankful. It has things like following Pokemon back. But as far as like a remake goes of a Pokemon game, it's the lower end. Heart Gold, I think, is the best. Omega Ruby, Alpha Sapphire is second. Then Fire Red and Leaf Green. Then Let's Go. And I think that's fair in the assessment there. I think that's fair. Like, that would be the pecking order that I would put them at. So that's how I'm going to put them here. Where would you rate Pokemon Go? Pokemon Go is it doesn't really fit here. These are more mainline Pokemon games. Arguably, Pokemon Colosseum shouldn't be here too. Arguably, Pokemon Legends Arceus shouldn't be here. I think Pokemon Legends Arceus fits the list a bit more. Pokemon Colosseum, not so much. Pokemon Go wouldn't fit in this list. Pokemon Go is different. It's a very different kind of experience. Okay. We have a trifectum here. Gen 4. Okay. Pokemon Platinum. Pokemon Platinum, I would also put on the B tier. I would give it a B. I think Heart Gold and Soul Silver, high B. High B. You know what? No. Okay. Tell you what. I'll give it an A. I'll give it an A. I'll put Platinum up there. The DS era Pokemon games were some of just the best realized ones. Pokemon Platinum is Generation 4, but better in almost every respect. The story is expanded. You have a Battle Frontier added. There are new forms for legendaries. There is just more content in this Pokemon game compared to others, and they fixed a lot of the problems that Gen 4 originally had too. There's more fire types in the region. The Pokedex is expanded, so there's more stuff for you to catch. There is bits of post-game content too, with the Battle Frontier being completely new for this game. It's a shared one with Heart Gold and Soul Silver. Platinum introduced that. You have things like the resort area where you can just like kind of have your own like kind of battle cafe where you fight other gym leaders in the game again. Stuff like that is just quite cool. It's probably the best Generation 4 experience we've had, I think. The Underground is in this game too, and that in itself adds a lot of content to this game. So I think, yeah, I think I would put that on par with the others. I think Heart Gold and Soul Silver is better. I think Black and White is better, but I'll put it at the end here. Here, we'll organize the order of these a bit more, right? So like at the leftmost will be the best one that I think on the tier. Here, I think it would be I think maybe Sun and Moon. Sun and Moon is such an awkward Pokemon game. It has so much good going for it, and it could be a B, but I'll put that there. Here as well, to maybe kind of quell some of the fires, Emerald is there. Emerald is there, alright? I will give it some credit. I think it's better than X and Y. Let's Go, I think, is there. Colosseum, I think, is the weakest one. Red and Blue is the bottom, Yellow, and then Alpha Sapphire. Oh, Ruby and Sapphire. Oh yeah, and then Crystal's probably better than Gold and Silver. Yeah, that just makes sense. But yeah, Platinum has just like, it has a lot of kind of just cool concepts going for it. It is the best realized Generation 4 Pokemon game we've had. It just has more content in it. I think, like, the selection of Pokemon is better. It is a very hard Pokemon game as well. The levels and that are tweaked in this one compared to Diamond and Pearl. It's one that still has a lot of interest and replay value. It doesn't always hold your hand. It's not afraid to just kind of give you the reins. Pokemon Platinum introduced Looker, who has become one of the more significant characters in the Pokemon universe. Looker shows up in every Pokemon game up to Gen 7. Ever since his introduction, which is actually quite significant. Not a lot of characters can attest to that. That's almost as many appearances as Professor Oak in the Pokemon games. Like, think about it like that. Gen 4, 5, 6, 7, he's there. Oak is in 1, 2. He's in 4. Maybe 7 if you count his cousin. Depends on where you stand there. But he's one of the more interesting characters, and I guess, yeah, the Sinnoh region is just a very fun one to explore. It has a lot of interest and variety going on. You have a snowy landscape. You have these mountainous areas. You have a lot of dense forests. You have dungeons that you really feel like you can get lost in. Platinum's not afraid to throw optional areas at you, too. When you get surfing this game, the world hugely opens up, and there's simply a lot to explore. You can go down to where the Pal Park is, and you just have a new route there. You can go explore more in Mount Coronet. There's Wayback Cave. There's Turnback Cave. Post-game for Gen 4 is actually quite significant as well, because it's basically a legendary scavenger hunt. You have a lot going on there. If we include sort of the Pokemon like DLC events, like the Shaman event, the Darkrai event, the Arceus event too, like, holy shit, those are some of the coolest kind of Pokemon encounters in the entire franchise. Meeting Arceus is such a cool encounter that one of the most significant encounters in Pokemon Legends Arceus is almost ripped from this game. And yes, I want to correct this as well. You pronounce it Arceus. Yes, you do. I'm going to correct this and clear this once and for all with a canon Pokemon game. Are you ready? Are you ready? You do. Yes, you do. It's how you pronounce it. Let me see if I can get this. Okay, we're going to have... Let's go into here. We're correcting this once and for all.
Both corners are so full of energy that there's no doubt this will be a great battle.
Just wait for it.
The battle begins. The blue corner makes the first attack. That hurt.
Is he gonna say it? Is he gonna say it?
A fierce blow. It's a direct...
We have to wait for him to talk.
Mewtwo restored.
There's Mewtwo. They retconned this?
The situation is
Did they? This is an official Pokemon game. Let me get it. Damn it, he's not saying it. I just want him to say the Pokemon's name. He won't say it. They did retcon it? Well, damn it, I was right for a while, though. They do pronounce it Arceus in this game. I'm trying to see if I could find it. Maybe it's in this. Wait.
Arceus restored its health.
I'm sorry, what was that?
A heated battle restored its health. Arceus. 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 Arceus.
It's canon. You can correctly pronounce it Arceus. People always fight me on that point that I'm saying it wrong. That was, I believe that's the first time they pronounced Arceus' name. I think even in the anime they did pronounce it like that, at least for a little while. They might have changed it at a later point, but it was canon. You're allowed to pronounce it like that. I would argue that it's a tomato-tomato scenario. Arceus. I'm not wrong. Another controversial Pokemon opinion there. RT is wrong? That was an official Pokemon game that just pronounced it Arceus. Look at the recent Pokemon Presents. They said it there. RT is correct. Did they? Did they actually say it in the Pokemon Presents too? We're settling this. We'll get back to the tier list in a moment. I'm curious. Did they? Okay, so this is 11 days old. Hang on. This is 11 days old. Okay, so let's get to it. The bit of the Presents where we get to Arceus. Here we are.
Exploring the Sinnoh region together. Next up, we have some news about the Pokemon Legends Arceus game.
Oh! Okay, they have changed their mind. You can say it both ways. You fucking tricked me. Look at the recent Pokemon Presents. They said it there. RT is correct. Both are acceptable, though. They said Arceus there, but they've said Arceus as well. They've said it both ways. I think it's Arceus. I think that's how you pronounce it, and I'll never change it. Let me take out my arse phone in the new game. Okay, Pokemon rankings. Yeah, Pokemon Platinum, I think, is one of the standout Pokemon games. Like, it is just one that you can still go back, and it's a unique experience, because they haven't actually brought back some of what they did in Pokemon Platinum. Just to give you an idea for the rest of the rankings here, Diamond and Pearl, I would put under Platinum. Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, I would put on par. Actually, no, that seems too high. That has to be down there. Yeah, that seems too high. I think Diamond and Pearl only suffers in relation to Pokemon Platinum, because when the two stand side by side, there's almost no reason to play Pokemon like Diamond and Pearl over Platinum. It's just a strictly better Pokemon game. And I think Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl is on par with Diamond and Pearl, and I think that's because they tried to just faithfully recreate it. It has one merit of the new underground in Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. It's I think it's a better underground overall. It's not strictly better because the secret bases were gutted, but it is a good underground. They did gut other features of the game though, so I don't think it gets any higher than where Diamond and Pearl was. They wanted a faithful recreation of those games, so it'll be on par with those games, and I think that's where the spot goes. I think Bolt pale in comparison to Platinum. I think that is the best experience of the Sinnoh region you can find. So it's unfortunate that it just kind of finds its place as a quite average Pokemon game. We have a bit of like almost a bell curve going with like how these rankings have gone. Look at that. You can see what I think is the absolute worst and what I think is the absolute best as well. I think looking at this, I'm quite happy with it. Like Black and White 2 I think is the best. Heart Gold and Soul Silver, top tier. Black and White, very good. Platinum, very good. Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, very good Pokemon game. Legends Arceus. The Sword and Shield DLC, amazing. I think that deserves the spot. Yeah, I just don't think the remake has enough going for it. It's a shame that they gutted a lot of the features from Pokemon Platinum. Contests in particular are just gone, and it's almost disgraceful when you think about it. Things like the Battle Frontier that were introduced in Platinum are gone. The character of Looker, who is one of the more significant parts of Pokemon Platinum's story, is just not here, and he was introduced in this generation. which is almost horrendous when you think about it. The character that was introduced in Gen 4 Pokemon games is not in the Gen 4 remakes. That's just not right. And like they regressed on several features of the games too. The amount of Pokemon available compared to Platinum is just not as good. Fire types are now a scarce rarity in these remakes when they actually fix that balance problem in Platinum. TMs are back to being these sort of weird, like middle of the road semi-use items. Like a big quality of life thing in Black and White was you could use TMs indefinitely, and it actually encouraged you to experiment with your moveset more. This just completely eliminates that aspect once again. It's such a weird one. The only place I can find a spot for this in the tier list, I think, is on par with Diamond and Pearl, and arguably slightly worse because contests and that are gone. I'm not happy with some of the changes in it. Like, I still had a fun time exploring the region, but I think that's because I love the region from original Diamond and Pearl and Platinum specifically. If this game had the Platinum content, this would easily be up here. Easily. There would be no question if it had more of the Platinum stuff in it. It has some tidbits of it. Like, it's weird with the half measures. You have the Rotom forms. That's kind of cool that that's there. They do have a special encounter for Giratina. That's kind of cool. There's a little bit more post-game, but the tile movement is really weird in this game for some reason. Like, it's hard to walk around. I don't know why. Like, TMs have regressed somewhat, but then they also popped on the new experience share mechanics, and it seems to be a nightmare in terms of balancing the game. I don't know. I don't really know what to make of it. I kind of like the new experience share mechanics in some Pokemon games if it's designed that way. If it's designed that way, then it's good, but this is not one where it's designed for that kind of experience, I think. And I think it kind of suffers for that. Also, the Poketch in this game is fucking useless in the remake because you don't have a touchscreen, and the way they've implemented it is almost horrible. There's no back button on the apps on the Poketch to actually toggle the one like just before the app you're currently on, which is something they fixed in Pokemon Platinum. They gave you a back button there. They took it out for the sake of a faithful remake. Like, what's the point? You can use the Poketch with the Switch touchscreen. You can, but there's no back button on it. It kind of makes it redundant. It's kind of horrible. Yeah, it was too faithful. It was faithful to a fault. So I think it's like the lower end. I think it's the lower end. But there you go. Those are my rankings. That's where I think the games fall. I think Black and White 2 is the best Pokemon game ever made. And I think Red and Blue is the worst one. Simply because it was the first one, and every Pokemon game since then, I think, is objectively better. You know, in terms of Kanto remakes, I think that's a fair order for them. I think Fire Red and Leaf Green is the most interesting, but the region is still kind of plain. There's at least more post-game content in this one. In remakes in general, Heart Gold and Soul Silver, yeah, that's the best one. Then Omega Ruby, Alpha Sapphire, Fire Red, Leaf Green, then the Diamond and Pearl ones. I think that's fair. Let's Go is kind of like in a weird spot just because it's nice and clean and polished, but it's still just Kanto, and Kanto's just not that interested. There needs to be more going on. I've tried to dive into some of these takes too. I know that when the YouTube highlights for this go up, people are going to be very upset and telling me why I'm wrong. That's okay. That's okay. Make your own tier list. Make your own ranking. I hope this gives an idea though of what I value in a Pokemon game. Post-game is the single most important aspect to me. Absolutely, because it's the thing you spend the most time in, ultimately. And if you have a good story and good progression up until that point, then happy days, you're just having a wonderful time all around, aren't you? We do have another tier list. Pokemon starters. Ho ho! We do have another one. And this is gonna be an even spicier take. I'm gonna start right off the bat. No, you know, he's too good for F tier. Add a row below. Put that there. Charizard, I think, is the most overrated Pokemon in the entire franchise. I am sick to death of Charizard appearing in absolutely everything. He is not that good, even typing-wise. He's not really that viable in battles because he dies to Stealth Rock in pretty much every game. But he always hogs the spotlight in pretty much every game, and in games where he really shouldn't have as much attention. He takes up a significant part of the spotlight in the Gen 8 Pokemon games, and again in the Gen 6 Pokemon games. He's the mascot of a Gen 3 Pokemon game. I'm so sick to death of Charizard having this sort of like prevalent presence, and I'm gonna say this, I think every single other fire type evolution Pokemon is better in terms of design than Charizard. I think Charizard is a very plain dragon and not even that creative of a design. He's just a fire lizard. And I think every fire starter that has come since then is better than what Charizard is. It's not even a dragon. Yep, he's not even a dragon. But I think Charizard itself is just a very plain design for a Pokemon. I don't think it's that interesting, but it's obnoxious how much it's in your face constantly. My single biggest hope for Generation 9 is specifically that Charizard is not in it. And that should tell you everything. I'm sick to death of this Pokemon. And I think every other fire type is better than this. So let's go through some of the fire types then, okay? One of the weaker fire types, I would say, is Tepig. Tepig is still kind of cool. I think when he becomes an Emboar, he has some, like, kind of cool potential because he's just basically a flaming pig on a flaming, like, pig that's going to punch the crap out of you. The reason it's just low is because there's other fire types that are just firefighting that I think are a bit more interesting in terms of design. And if you want to talk more interesting in design, I think we give Torchic like a C, a sort of like a middle of the row. I think like Blaziken is just a more cool firefighting design. It was one of the first firefighting designs that we had. It also has it had a mega evolution in X and Y too, which was actually kind of cool. It gets speed boost. I think that's quite cool. It's quite a powerful Pokemon. I like Torchic is adorable. I think Blaziken is really cool. I would put him into C. We want to talk even better firefighting. I think we give Chimchar the B. I think we put Chimchar even higher in the rankings. I think he's the best firefighting of the bunch. I think he's really cool. He's got kind of an aggressive, kind of menacing presence. And when someone sends out an Infernape in battle against you, you have an almost, oh shit, they've got an Infernape reaction. It is a Pokemon to be feared. Its speed is very fast and its attack is very strong. Blaziken is scary, but its speed is kind of middle of the row until it gets going. I'm not as scared of a Blaziken when I first see it. When an Infernape comes out against me, it's like, oh shit. You know, I'm actually quite scared. We want to talk even better fire Pokemon, right? Litten, I think it gets a B spot here next to Chimchar. I think Litten is quite a cool one. And I think Incineroar is kind of like, he's a bit underappreciated. I appreciate them just kind of doing something a bit different with the final fire design. Fire Dark is a bit cooler, like Houndoom has that. And it's just kind of physical, he's kind of slow and bulky, but he packs a fucking punch. He's a very powerful Pokemon. So I think we give Litten like the B spot. The fucking ads, I'm so sorry guys, I don't know what's happening. Twitch is doing it so we don't hear his arguments. I'm just giving people a chance to come back from the ads. Yeah, when I'm talking about the starter here as well, I'm putting the starter first, but I'm talking about its final evolution a lot as well. Because it matters, because you're going to spend most of the time with this Pokemon as its final evolution. So it's important to talk about both. The middle evolutions, there's not much to really say. It's like awkward teenage years for most of these Pokemon. Okay, we'll give people a chance just to get through the ads. I'm so sorry about that. I'm not running any ads. Like, I haven't clicked it, like, at all. I kind of hate them. They must have changed something. They must have changed something since the last time we streamed, because this was not an issue. Okay, the ad manager is running rampant as well. I'm trying to lessen it. It's not actually letting me save the change. I think maybe some setting was tweaked and it's acting up or something, yeah. We're back, yeah. I think like something happened and then I've tried to set it back, but I think because I'm still streaming, it hasn't taken the change. Maybe I can't change it right now. I don't know. Yeah, I'm very sorry for this stream. We'll just try and endure it, okay? We'll just get through it. If it's any consolation for the ads as well, I'm literally going to be doing like a charity stream on Saturday for the Ukraine. Anything that comes in from ads right now, I'm just going to donate. Because I don't, like, I don't want to run ads. Alright? I am sorry about them, though. They shouldn't be doing this. Okay. Let's carry on. Let's carry on here, okay? Litten, because I think Litten, maybe not as cool as Infernape, but I think Incineroar is still quite cool. He has a distinction of actually being one of the starter Pokemon that actually made the Smash Bros as well, so you can play more with this guy, which honestly does make the Pokemon just a little bit cooler. It's cool when you can play as them in Smash. Except for you. I think Incineroar is actually, he's a pretty cool, like, kind of solid fire type. He's definitely, like, above curve. He's one of the better ones, I think. Yeah, I kind of like the aesthetic that he's just based on a wrestler and he's going to kick your ass as well. I don't know. There's something just quite cool about that design. So I think I'd give him that spot. Now, Scorbunny. This is going to be surprising for some folks. Scorbunny and Cinderace, I think, is actually one of the best fire starters that you can possibly get. I think they're one of the best ones, and what carries it so hard is its ability. Libero is a wonderful ability that you can have in this Pokemon, where it literally changes its type based on the attack you are using before you hit them. And that's actually a really fucking cool quality to have. And I think that actually pushes Cinderace above a lot of them here, because when you factor that in with pretty good speed and pretty good attack, I think it's pretty cool. It's another kind of like final evolution starter that's standing on 2 feet, and God only knows we have a lot of them, but I think it's actually one of the best ones. I kind of like its rabbit design. I think it's quite cute. I like the kind of twist where it's actually just based on the footballer. I mean, that's a kind of a cool way to take it, where it just shoots like a fiery ball at you. I think it's one of the better ones, and I think it's actually surprisingly strong, and I would rate it quite highly among the fire types. For a similar reason, just as this, like, I think, where's Froakie? Froakie is on par, because Greninja gets the same ability in the form of Protein, where it can change its type before it attacks. And I think those are just some really cool starter qualities that set these ones very high above the rest of the pack. These are very powerful starter Pokemon to take because of the potential for that ability if you get it. It makes them very fun to use. They're competitively viable Pokemon as well, which cannot be said for a lot of the starters here. And they really stand out because of their abilities. It carries them quite significantly hard here. Arguably, Greninja is a bit even cooler than Cinderace because it has a unique form as well in Sun and Moon. You get the Ash Greninja, like through a special event. That gives it some even more power. It really just pushes these Pokemon above and beyond, I think. That I would rate them very highly compared to a lot of stuff here. Finish off the fire types. Fennekin and Delphox, I think, is a middle of the range Pokemon. Basically evolves into a wizard. I quite like the Gen 6 starters. I just think it's a bit average, though. It's not particularly powerful. It's got, like, middling defenses. Fire Psychic is a cool typing. You know, we don't always get that. Victini is a notable standout. I don't think it's as good as some of these other starters, though. So I put that a bit middle of the pack. And I think that's a fair spot for it. Fennekin, that's it. Yeah, I'd give that one middle of the pack. I think it's like about on par with like a Blaziken in its final form. Cyndaquil is S tier. He's the best fire starter they have ever made. Is one of the... I think he's the coolest one that they've ever done. The fact that he now has a unique form in Legends Arceus is simply pushes him above and beyond everything else that's there. Fire Ghost typing is simply amazing when he evolves into a Typhlosion. He is fast. He can hit hard with his special attack. He gets access to Eruption. It's incredibly powerful. It's a simple enough design for the Pokemon, but I kind of love him for it. He's just like he just has fire on his back and he hits shit hard. And I think he's really cool. I'm very biased here because Cyndaquil is my first Pokemon. So take what I say with a grain of salt. But I think he's the best one. I think he's the best one. And it's like when I think of like if I had to pick one fire type Pokemon out of all of them, that is the one I would take. That is the one that I would want. And the fact that it has a new form in Legends Arceus just makes it even better. I love Cyndaquil. We want to get another S tier in? Piplup. Piplup and Empoleon, the Emperor Penguin, the Water Steel typing. Oh my god, it's so good. Empoleon is such a fun Pokemon to use. It is strong, it hits like a tank, and it can survive a lot of attacks. When I think of the best water type, I think Piplup. I think he is so wonderful that I would give him a very high S ranking again. I'm only giving an S ranking to one of each type here as well. But I think Piplup is... just look at him. His design is absolutely adorable. He's a penguin. He's your best friend. He evolves into an Emperor Penguin that's actually very good and very strong. Like, I love the little guy. And he's one of my most memorable starters that I've ever had in my team. If I ever have a chance to use a Piplup in a game, I always take it over everything else. I think he's absolutely wonderful. Final S tier? Actually, no. No, we'll save it. We'll save it for a bit. Let's talk some of the lower tiers. Yeah, talk some of the lower tiers. Chikorita. Oh, God. Like, I don't know what they're doing with this Pokemon. Poor Chikorita has just never been good. Chikorita is, like, it just looks at you sad when you go to Professor Elm's lab in the Gen 2 games because it already knows you're not going to pick it. It is a mono grass type that has nothing going for it. It has no move pool. It has no interest in abilities. It's not even that bulky. You know, it's just a sad display for poor Chikorita. So I think that's deserved. Bulbasaur, I think, would be a D. Slightly more interest in Chikorita. Venusaur, still not the best grass type, I think. I'm not the biggest fan of him. I think there's just some cooler ones on the list, which is why I think Bulbasaur is pushed down here. Like, it's an okay Pokemon if you just want kind of like a bulky wall, but I think there are better grass types. I think there are better grass types, which is why we're going to keep going up the list here. We're going to keep moving on up, right? Chespin, I think, is a bit cooler than Venusaur. And Chesnaught. It's a grass fighting type, and it's a bulky wall, and it gets an interesting ability. Like, it can avoid some moves. Oh, no, not an interesting ability. An interesting move. It gets Spiky Shield. It is a form of Protect that actually causes physical damage to anything that makes contact with it. And I kind of like the aesthetic of all the Gen 6 Pokemon they were going for. Because they're actually based on a D&D party. I don't know if people know this. Greninja is a rogue. Delphox is the wizard. And Chesnaught is kind of like the fighter, warrior, tank of the group. And I'm a bit of a nerd for that. I kind of appreciate the cool aesthetic and design that they have for those Pokemon. And it gets bonus points for that because it's just a little bit more interesting. It stands out. It's more memorable. And so I think it gets middle of the pack status in terms of the grass types. For also middle of the pack status, we're going to put Snivy in here. Snivy and Superior, its ability carries it. It has an ability called Contrary, where basically if it gets a stat decrease, it actually turns it into an increase. And that alone is just quite significant for this Pokemon and makes it stand out a little bit more in comparison to the other Pokemon that are here. Now again, this is not my absolute favorite grass-type Pokemon. I really probably wouldn't use them in comparison to some of the other stuff here. But it has an interesting ability and like an okay-ish moveset that it can use there. Snivy, Snivy, Potato, Arceus, Arceus. So I think Snivy gets a spot there. Turtwig, I think, is a better grass type though than both of these. A Torterra is just quite a scary thing to encounter on a team. Like there's a sense the Pokemon has real presence that it can fuck you up. And with grass ground typing, it can actually hit a surprising amount of stuff. So we rate this one kind of higher than the other grass types. I think it's more interesting than pretty much all of these. We want to go even more interesting for grass types. This one is carried hard by its Mega Evolution. The Gen 3 Pokemon are actually quite up there in terms of quality. Sceptile, I think, is a remarkable Pokemon when it has its Mega Evolution. It is Grass Dragon, it is very fast, it packs a punch. Grass Dragon is a very cool typing for a starter Pokemon that you can get. Now again, Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire are carrying his position hard here. But it's a very strong Pokemon. Trico also gets bonus points because its middle stage evolution, Grovyle, is a significant character in some spin-off Pokemon games. Mystery Dungeon fans know what I'm talking about there. So he does get a bit of a boost because of that. He is actually quite a significant character in those games. But he's just more interesting in terms of even like just what Mega Sceptile is. Mega Sceptile is a really cool Mega Evolution. It's one that I would really encourage using if you're playing Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. It's one of the cooler options you have. So I rate it quite highly because of that. And I would recommend it. Yeah, I think Sceptile is just a really cool one. Sceptile is one of the first like kind of speedy grass types that we got in the games too. Like he actually has like a significant speed compared to some of these other Pokemon. Next up we got Grookey and Sobble. These are pretty low. I've never really been a fan of their designs. It's probably like the best way to put them. I just don't think they're that interesting. Scorbunny is carried very hard by its ability. And if Scorbunny and Cinderace did not have Libero, then Scorbunny would be a very middle tier Pokemon. It would be a bit above them because I think it's the cooler of the Gen 8 Pokemon. But it'd be very middle of the range. Oh, let me just get some more music. Hang on. One second. No, that's I'm trying to find a playlist for. I had one, but it ran out. You want like a hour-long subway trainer battle music theme? Excuse me. I'll pop on some Mario Jazz. There we go. Okay, something different. Yeah, I think these are just quite disappointing because they're just monotype and their abilities just aren't that interesting. They don't really do much. Cinderace has like actually a very powerful spot where it's kind of fast and can actually do a lot again because of his ability. These guys just don't have anything going for them. They're better than Tepig and Chikorita. They're better than them. They're probably better. No, Bulbasaur at least has a second typing. Yeah, I just don't think they're that interesting. They're kind of plain. There's nothing stand outish about those Pokemon. And it's like when you look at all the generations together, it's like, would you rather an Empoleon or an Inteleon? Would you rather a Greninja or an Inteleon? There's almost no world where I'd say like, fuck yeah, Inteleon over those other Pokemon. Greninja is a cooler Inteleon. Gigantamax version, no one cares about Gigantamax. Yeah, so I think that's a pretty low one. Speaking of pretty low then, maybe it's time to do our boy Oshawott justice. Are you ready? I've had a lot of slander for this Pokemon. Where do you think he's gonna be? Oshawott is a high B tier. And this is carried almost purely by its new form. The new form of Samurott, it's just kind of cool and makes it more interesting. Water Dark is a cool type and it gets a new signature move. You can pop a Choice Scarf on it and it actually has surprisingly good coverage. It's nowhere near as cool as Greninja. It's like a Greninja Light. But it has its place. And I think it's better than a lot of the other Pokemon here that are quite average. A new form like that really adds a lot of value to the Pokemon, and it does make it very refreshing. It does make it more interesting. It stands apart from its other Gen 5 kind of counterparts, where it's like another fire fighting and pure grass. Here's Water Dark. We have a better Water Dark, but it's still a bit more interesting. So he does actually get quite a high spot on the list because of that. Now we want to talk low on the list again. We want to talk low. I think Blastoise and Squirtle are on par with Inteleon. There's some sort of homage that's happening here with like the Gen 1 to Gen 8 counterparts just not being that interesting. It's just a big turtle. It's just pure water type. Mega Blastoise is at least a little cooler, and it does get like kind of a nice ability from that, but I think it's simply dwarfed in comparison to a lot of the other water types that come on the scene. I think its Mega Evolution is just not as good as some of the others that you have available, which is why I'm going to move on to the next one. Mudkip is a high A. Mudkip is a high A as one of the best water type starters that you can get. And the reason Squirtle and Blastoise is simply low is because Mudkip exists in the same generation here. A Mega Swampert is just cooler than a Mega Blastoise in my opinion. It can do more. It packs a punch. It hits very hard. It has Swift Swim as an ability. There's a lot of like scary teams you can construct with that. Mudkip gets a very high spot. The Gen 3s, in particular, have very high spots on the list. They're quite notable, and they're almost solely carried by Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. Arguably, Torchic even has a spot up here. I think Torterra and Incineroar are just a bit cooler than it, so we'll pop it at the high C. But the Gen 3 starters are some of the best Pokemon starters that I think they've ever made in a Pokemon game. I'm happy with all of them, honestly. And with their Mega Evolutions to boot, they're very cool and memorable. They're really fun to use. So we placed them quite highly on the list. The poor Gen 1 starters. Yeah, the Gen 1 starters are just having trouble. They're just very vanilla. They're very vanilla. Poor Tepig's down here just because he came out at a time when there was just too many firefighting types. There's just more interest in starters, I think, than him. Speaking of just more interest in starters, I think poor Totodile here is down with Chikorita. I don't think Feraligatr is that cool, and I think there is just a lot of competition in terms of water-type starters that you can get. Look at these 4 that are almost top tier already. And I think Feraligatr just struggles to find a place. Feraligatr is just like a worse Samurott to me in almost every capacity. And there's just not much going for it. So I think I place him quite low. He's not as bad as Chikorita. It's not as bad as Chikorita. But he's unfortunately very low in the ranking simply because there's a lot more interest in designs. Again, look at a lot of these Pokemon at the bottom. They're all just monotypes that don't really have anything significant going for them. They're just not that interesting. So we pop that there. Okay, there are 2 left from Gen 7. There's 2 left. Poplio. And was it Primarina, is it? I think that's the name of its final evolution. I think this one ranks quite highly as well, as far as starters go. I think this is on par with some of the interest in just type combinations that you get. Water Fairy is just a cool type. Honestly, it has quite good coverage. It packs a bit of a punch. Solid typing can just carry a Pokemon, honestly. And the aesthetic of Primarina is that it's an opera singer, or like a siren, which I just think is quite cool. And so I would actually place that quite highly above some of the other ones. It's actually, like, offensively quite a good typing that you can get. I think it's better than some of, like, kind of like the average ones that you have down here. I would rate it quite high. Maybe Incineroar is a little bit better. But I would still rate it quite highly. That being next to Torterra feels right. That being next to Torterra feels right, I think. It's just a cool Pokemon. Gen 7, again, you might see. Just like cool starters. Across the board, like they're rating quite highly. We have 1 left. Oh, wait, no, he's not supposed to go there. He's stuck. Rowlet? Rowlet, are you ready? Rowlet is S tier. And he's arguably number 1. This is a bold claim, but I think Rowlet and Decidueye are the coolest combinations of starter, the coolest starter Pokemon that you can get in the franchise. This is putting aside my own personal love and bias for Typhlosion here. It comes as a grass flying type. It has an adorable design with the bow tie. It evolves into basically Matt Smith from Doctor Who. And when you get it to Decidueye, it is just a really cool design. Grass Ghost is a really cool typing. It has very powerful moves that it can use. It gets a cool ability that kind of encourages use of them. I love like the Spirit Shackle attack that it can do. I really like Decidueye. I think it's like the coolest grass type Pokemon that they've ever made. And grass types historically in Pokemon have been in a bit of an awkward spot trying to compete with the water and fire types and just how good they are. I think Decidueye is the definitive grass type, and I think it's one of the best starter Pokemon they've ever made. Absolutely. It also has the added benefit of that it does have another form through Legends Arceus. You can get a grass fight in Decidueye, which is actually quite cool. I think the grass ghost typing in particular is the better between them. I think grass ghost is the standout. But I think he's one of the best starter Pokemon just ever in a Pokemon game. Like, I absolutely love him. And if it's like Rowlet versus anything else, like I'd be hard pressed not to pick Rowlet. Like my own bias here would be is like, oh fuck yeah, like I love a Cyndaquil. But if Rowlet came up against a Cyndaquil, it's like I don't know which I choose. When I played Legends Arceus, I did choose Rowlet between the two. I think he's the best starter that they've ever made. I love his design. He's so cute. And he evolves into actually a very powerful final form that is interesting in terms of mechanics and type. And it has a second form. Like, it just checks a lot of boxes that makes it quite cool and distinct. Gen 9, we don't know enough about the Gen 9 starters. Based on the starters alone, I mean, because I don't know what their final forms are. I'd give the fire guy a B and the other two a C. I think the fire one is cooler. But they're all pretty good. They're all pretty good. It really depends on what their final evolutions are, because that is a significant factor. That's the form the Pokemon will have for the most amount of time. And we simply don't know what that is yet. I think the fire one is the coolest. He's really grown on me. Fuecoco, is that how you pronounce it? Yeah, I think he's really cool. I really like him. Decidueye is also based off a stilt-legged owl, which is an extinct species, which I think is a cool way to implement a ghost type. That is a very cool way to implement a ghost type, yeah. Yeah, like, Cyndaquil is still, like, one of my favorite Pokemon ever. Piplup is my favorite water type. But, like, every time I see a Rowlet, I'm just like, fuck yeah, I want to use a Rowlet. Are you kidding me? Rowlet's so cool. And he's fun for, like from the moment you get him, too, because he's just a grass flying type. Like, it's just interesting compared to a lot of other starter Pokemon, like, from the offset. Like, the only other one that I can think of that does that is Bulbasaur with Grass Poison. I think that's it for, like, the first form. Yeah. It's pronounced, Fuecoco, is it? Fuecoco? But yeah, I think Rowlet is the best one. Absolutely. And those will be the starters. Charmander and Charizard are the worst, and then poor Chikorita's down here. Those are the top three. I think the A tiers are very fair there as well. I think those are like some of the best ones. Gen 3 has very strong starters. Gen 7, I think, has some of the best ones. And then there's like a couple of standouts in every generation past that. Gen 4 does place very highly here too. If you look at like the three of them there and where they've scored. They're very much up there. Gen 5 is some of the weaker ones. Gen 1 and 8, the worst. Gen 2 is actually pretty abysmal too outside of Cyndaquil. Just, he's so much cooler than the others. Oh god. I do have one more tier list if you guys are interested in it. Every Pokemon. Alright, how much time we got? Someone start a clock. We're gonna have to move quite quick on this. Okay? We're gonna have to make some snap decisions here. Are you ready? At least the first ones are quite easy. Mega Venusaur is slightly cooler than the other ones. Caterpie, you gotta rate Metapod highly. No one cares about Dynamax. Weedle deserves a spot there. Kakuna deserves ones next to Metapod. The Beedrill family is quite cool. Pidgey is kind of like one of the more basic birds. Basic bird family goes down here. Alolan forms in general get one spot above their counterparts just because they're slightly more interesting. We don't like Spearow. That's literally just a snake. Fat Pikachu is an S tier. Oh no, the ads! They've struck! Stop the music. Give him a moment. Give him a moment. We're getting there in terms of Pokemon. You good? I'm so sorry about them. I wish, like, I think I just have to restart the stream to get rid of them. I would rather avoid that if I can. You know, just fuck it. Yeah, restart the stream. Here, let me tweak this real quick. I'll be 2 minutes, okay? Hang on, I'll be 2 minutes. Yeah, because this is awful. Like, fuck's sake, Twitch. Just everyone refresh the stream in a moment, okay? You need to refresh it. We're gonna see if we can fix it. Yeah, let me just go into like the setting for it again, just to make sure I've got it. Hang on. You all gotta sit tight. You all gotta promise you're gonna come back, right? Okay. I'll be right back. 2 minutes. Hello? I'm back. I have some bad news. It doesn't seem to be letting me tweak it right now. Hello. Welcome back. I don't know if I can actually fix it, and I'm worried restarting the stream is going to run more fucking of them. Which is unfortunate. Hello. Yeah. There's unfortunately not much I can do. I'm trying to tweak on my end. Everyone refresh. Yes, everyone refresh. Yeah, I'm not happy with that. Like, something must have gone into effect. I'm kind of tempted just to, like, I don't really want to do the entire thing if it's this bad. Do I stop the stream? Something's just clearly borked with it tonight, yeah, because it's not letting me tweak it. No, don't stop this. Okay, well, thank you guys there. Right, well, sure. At least Twitch might be fucked. At least know anything that happens with the ads tonight that's gonna go to charity, right? It's at least something. Because yeah, something's clearly wrong. It's never been this bad, has it? Never. We'll suffer together for ads. Well, for charity. Time to do YouTube gaming? YouTube gaming is far worse. Are you fucking kidding me? That's not the solution here. Why doesn't he stream on YouTube? There's a reason. Outside of a dreadful viewer experience in terms of chat. I do not know anyone who streams on YouTube by choice. Everyone who I know streams on YouTube over Twitch does so specifically because they've been paid to stream on YouTube over Twitch. And that is the sole reason. So. Okay. Yeah, I can't do anything, unfortunately, for tonight with that. We can carry on into the void. March on into oblivion. Let's see if we can rank him, right? Okay, Pikachu, middle of the pack. Alolan Raichu, higher. Regular Raichu, not as high as Alolan. Alolan Sandshrew, Sandslash, those are cooler. Not as high. We're just gonna have to try and find space for a lot of them. Nidoqueens and Nidokings, they're just not for me. Clefable, so not for me. Alolan Vulpix, better. Pop them in there. Ninetales in there. Jigglypuff? Jigglypuff is an A. Jigglypuff on its own is wonderful. Wigglytuff kind of goes in with the rest of the gang there. Zubat's very, very middle of the pack Pokemon. Oddish, very middle of the pack Pokemon. Pop him in. Paris, I've never heard anyone be excited about using a Paris on their team. Same with Venonat and Venomoth. Alolan Diglett. Alolan Diglett's pretty up there. Alolan Dugtrio is better than Alolan Diglett. The Meowth's kinda average. Long Meowth, slightly better. Persian's worse than Meowth. Psyduck, we give him a bit up there. He's not as cool as... Golduck's not as cool as him. Mankey, I've never heard anyone be excited to use a Mankey. Arcanine is a B. Cool Pokemon. Poliwag family is a C. Aber family is a C solely because there's more interest in psychic types. This guy's just like a fighter. it's not that interesting of a design. Pop him in there. I've never heard anyone be excited for a Bellsprout. Tentacool and Tentacruel have actual competitive viability. Geodude, not that cool, but the Alolan ones are cooler. Pop him in. Galarian Ponyta, a little bit cooler than regular Ponyta. Slowpoke, that's a B tier. I'm just gonna keep ranking them. They'll be fine. We've so much progress to make here. Slowbro family, they all get B's. It's for charity, guys. It's for charity. Okay, Magneton, it's literally just fridge magnets. Pop it lower. Farfetch, they're just a bird with a leak. Simplicity is cool. No one likes Dodo. It's a seal named Seal. You can't defend that Pokemon design. Dugong, little cooler though. It's a pile of sludge. 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 Cloisters are cool. God, there's so fucking many. Gengar family is all a solid B, with Mega Gengar making it to an A. Mega Gengar is very cool. Onix. No one's ever excited to use Onix. No one likes Drowsy. No one likes Hypno. Krabby's a little bit cooler than some of them. It's literally just a Pokeball. It's literally just a thing of eggs. Long Executor. I kind of love him, B. Chubby Executor, he's down there. Cubone family kind of fits in there with Alolan Marowak taking a spot there. Pop him in. Hitmonlee and Hitmonchan are kind of bland fighting types. No one likes Lickitung. Coffin is a D, Galarian is a C. No one really uses Rhyhorn or gets excited for them. Chansey, middle of the pack, kind of cool. Hospital Pokemon. Tangela's kind of nice. He's kind of cute. Mega Kangaskhan is surprisingly strong. Pop it there. Horsey, Seadra, no one really likes them. Goldeen, Seaking. Starmie's a little cooler. Staryu and Starmie a little bit cooler. Just new tier there for Mr. Mime. Scyther. Poppin' Jinx. Electabuzz is about a D. Magmar, about on par. Mega Pinsir, that's a C. Regular Pinsir, that's a D. Tauros, that's a D. Magikarp, in its simplicity and just being a meme, gets it a status of an A. It's actually cooler than pretty much Gyarados as well. But the Gyarados is there. Lapras. Lapras, middle of the range. Ditto can be anything, so strictly speaking, he actually occupies quite a high spot. He's basically just putty, but he can be whatever you want him to be, and that makes him kind of inherently cool. Fluffy Eevee is up there with Fat Pikachu. Eevee is an S tier Pokemon as well. The Eeveelutions, Jolteon and Vaporeon get A. Flareon, not as good, but still kind of cool. High B. Porygon, it's just a polygon. Gen 1 fossils aren't that interesting compared to other fossils. Mega Aerodactyl, kind of sleeper hit. Put him B. C. Snorlax with a tree on him is just kind of lame. Snorlax in general, higher at a C. The Galarian, yeah, all the birds I think are about a C. I think Zapdos would get a B. I think Zapdos is the coolest one. But the rest, yeah, C feels right. Dratini is a B. Dragonair is a B. Dragonite, easy S tier. One of the coolest Pokemon they've made. Mewtwo has committed several war crimes at this point, so we'll chuck him in there. Mew is really cool, so we'll put him up as A. Please zoom out. This is as much as I can. Like, you want me to zoom out like this? I don't think that's gonna help anyone. Okay. You know, we did the first generation of Pokemon. Do we call it a day there? We're gonna be there forever. Like, guys, I've done so many already. I've barely made a dent. I've barely made a dent. Like, it's physically just hard to just to move them up to the tier where they need to be. We'll do one more. It's just, where are they? There's Wooloo. Oh no, I dropped them! No! Oh fuck, where did they go? See, this is why this is gonna be hard. She's gone. Victini's the best one. Stream's over. Oh god, no. Okay, we can't do every Pokemon realistically. That's going to take too much. That's going to take way too long. Another time. If I could set it up so that it's like the first form of every Pokemon and like the final form, then maybe. Okay? Because like this one is just way too much. Do every legendary. If there's one for that, I'm happy to do that. The first one that I'm seeing for this, I don't know if it has every Pokemon on it. No, this one doesn't. I'm trying to find one that actually has them all. I've seen no list with like the dogs. Can't find one. Where would have Wooloo got? Wooloo is an S tier Pokemon. Annual tier list for every Pokemon, please. What does that mean, Ava? Thank you for the 1,000 bits. What do you mean annual? Bidoof is an S tier Pokemon as well. Yep. You update it every year. Okay, tell you what. Here's something I'll do, right? We're gonna reset the every Pokemon tier list. There's a new criteria. We're gonna make it a new criteria. Can I start it over? Hang on. Reset. Okay. This is gonna be a Pokemon tier list, right? Of the best Pokemon. And if something even makes this tier list as a D, that means that it's one of the best Pokemon. Okay? Because otherwise, like, it's just a short list. Like, this basically means we chop out a significant portion of Pokemon. And we're going to be a bit more selective as to what even gets on the tier list, okay? So this is going to be my favorite Pokemon tier list. And even if it's like a D or something here, that's still pretty good. Okay? There's no F for this one. Because, like, what's the point? You know, like, I hate this one. So, Pokemon that are going to make this. So, like, Fat Pikachu immediately gets on the list. So this is best of the best Pokemon. Fat Pikachu, he's an overweight Pikachu. You don't need to say more. Like, that is just so stupid and fun, and I love it. So we're just gonna pop him on right away. Alolan Sandslash, I always thought it was like kind of like a cool Pokemon. I've actually really liked that one. Alolan Raichu is probably like my favorite of like the Pikachu family. Yeah, I'll pop that above even Fat Pikachu. I think putting that middle like that is good. Alolan Raichu, it's just electric psychic. It's good stats. It actually has a bit of coverage. It's a kind of like fun design and reinvention of Raichu. He's actually very strong. I'd recommend using one. So we'll give him a spot. Alolan Ninetales, I think that deserves a spot as well. I quite like that Pokemon. It's just Ice Fairy. It's worthy of note. Remember, even if it gets a C here, that is significant praise. These are some of the best Pokemon that are making this shortlist. Jigglypuff, I've always just loved the design of. He's just so simple, but like so cute. Dapper little guy. You pop a hat on him, he's adorable. Jigglypuff deserves a space. Alolan Dugtrio. It's just Dugtrio, but with hair. And that is just incredible. Like, that definitely deserves a spot. Charmander doesn't even make the list, no. Charmander is not making the list here. No, we're going through Kanto first. Best of the best for Kanto, right? Slowbro is just such a cool lad. Yep, we're gonna pop him on. By proxy, Mega Slowbro is gonna make it on. I think regular Slowbro is cooler than the new form of Slowbro. I don't like him as much. Mega Gengar is just another kind of cool Pokemon. I'd recommend him. I'm just kind of going through. Arcanine. Arcanine gets a lower spot here. Cool Fire Doggo. Alolan Marowak. He gets a spot as well. He's another cool one. Ditto can be anything, so by that logic, we should just still keep Ditto on the list. Adoro below. Where, yeah. Pop Mr. Mime in there. Let's see. What else are we going to give a spot to on the list? I'm just trying to think what Pokemon stand out. Big Eevee is really cool. Eevee, I think, is one of like the best Pokemon they've ever made. Eevee should be like the mascot, honestly. Because it kind of encompasses what the series is about, and that's evolution. And it evolves into the most Pokemon. It's just a really fun one, and everyone like always loves having an Eevee on their team. Dragonite will get a spot as well. Dragonite is an A-tier Pokemon. He's one of the best ones. We will give the regular Zapdos. Regular Zapdos gets... No, not in prison. Regular Zapdos makes the bottom of the list here. Mew absolutely gets on the list. Mew's just cool. Again, a lot of them coming in at C, but like... These are best of the best Pokemon. Best of the best. So we're like holding them to like a different standard here. And it makes it easier to kind of like sort through them. Typhlosion, S tier. Cyndaquil, S tier. Pop them up there. They are simply wonderful. Noctowl gets a spot on it as well. Noctowl is a standout one. Ampharos. Ampharos I love. I like with his Mega Form as well, and just Mareep. Like, these Pokemon are just so cute. Popped a lot of them on. Azumarill has actually always been like one of my favorite competitive Pokemon. So he kind of just sneaks in there. I really like him. Espeon and Umbreon, I think, are the coolest evolutions they have made. And so, in like holding it to like the higher standard, we're gonna pop both of them on it together. I think those are the best evolutions. Still, the concept of Eevee, I think, is cooler than them, which is a bit weird. It's just because Eevee can evolve into so much. And it's like, even if you don't like a particular evolution, you'll still love Eevee because it can become so much. So yeah, pop them there. They're the best evolutions. Scizor. Criminally underrated Pokemon. Coolest bug fighting one. Absolutely adore him. Mega Scizor is not as cool. Okay, we're gonna go. Another S tier Pokemon here. Mega Tyranitar. And regular Tyranitar. I'm convinced that for a lot of Gen 5 and Gen 6 competitive, that Tyranitar was one of the best Pokemon in the entire game. Simply in terms of pure stats on a Mega Tyranitar, it has insane defense, insane special defense because Rock type gets a plus 50% boost when there's a Sandstorm, which it always has because it's a Tyranitar. And if you use Dragon Dance on it, it is now faster than almost every Pokemon in the entire game. I think it has like a base 80 speed, so you increase that to 120 after a Dragon Dance. It is absurdly powerful. And back in the day, everyone should have used Tyranitar. I absolutely love it. I think it's one of the best Pokemon ever. So we'll pop him high up on the list. Ho-Oh I have a soft spot for just because Pokemon Gold. All of the Gen 3 starters get on. It's hard to find them. There's so many Pokemon. All of the Gen 3 starters make it. Some are just the best starter Pokemon that have ever been made. Although I don't like Ruby and Sapphire, I like the Pokemon in those games. It's just the region just really rubbed me the wrong way. I'm not a fan. We'll go to Empoleon next. Empoleon, he's an S tier. And we'll grab out a Piplup. Wooper and Quagsire, they don't make the list. Nope. This is my list. They don't make it. I could drag all of these guys too. Should I just say for convenience sake that like if one Pokemon form is on it, then it's like that specific, like one for each family. Unless there's like a standout exception. These guys can just represent the Gen 3 starters. Okay, let's see. Gen 3 Pokemon. Metagross was always kind of cool. He gets a low entry there. And, I mean, there's just a lot of Gen 3 Pokemon that aren't that interesting. Mega Absol gets a spot. I tried this guy out quite a bit back in the day in competitive. He's kind of cool. I like Absol. Melodic, I think there's just cooler Pokemon than Melodic. It's not one of my favorites. Staraptor is one of my favorites. Bidoof is an S tier Pokemon. Just Bidoof. We don't really care about Bibarel. Bidoof makes it to the top of the list though. No contest there. See, I'm going through Gen 3 and I'm just seeing if there's any stragglers that are kind of cool. Breloom's one I've always liked. Breloom's cool. They can put Pokemon to sleep and hit them quite hard with Technician abilities. Gen 4, I think, is when it gets a lot cooler. Like, yeah, this is a lot of Gen 3 Pokemon. Put in an Aggron. Put in an Aggron. Aggron, I'd say, is on par there. Gen 4 is where it gets like significantly cooler in terms of Pokemon that like stand out. Roserade, A tier Pokemon, easy. Fast Grass Poison, it has sleep, it hits strong. Just a powerful Pokemon to have, you always appreciate it. Going Row. Bye Row. Garchomp. Garchomp's probably been like my signature competitive Pokemon. Ever since he's been introduced, I've used a competitive Garchomp in almost every single generation. He's a Pokemon that's very dear to my heart. There's a lot of Gen 4 ones that are getting in here. Lucario as well. Lucario will be another kind of competitive one that I've just always used. I really like Lucario. Let's see. Who else is gonna make the cut? There's quite a few of them here. Togekiss, yeah, Togekiss makes the list. Togekiss, I think, is an A tier Pokemon. Like, Togekiss just made, like, getting Togepi and Togetic worth it. It's just a strong, bulky flying type. It can pack a punch, and it hurts people quite hard in return. It's always a fun one to use when you're playing in-game. There's not a lot of special attacker flying types as well. Most of them tend to be physical based, like if you look at Staraptor and Pidgeot and all them. So like Togetic is just a real noticeable standout difference. And the fact that it is fairy typing now just means it's even better. So I'd absolutely give that a spot. Gliscor, I think, is a criminally underrated Pokemon. Pop him in there. Just a big bulky wall. He's a nightmare to deal with in competitive. Toxic style Gliscor was a very serious threat back in the day. You'd have to be kind of aware of him. Moving on my list, I prefer Espeon over Umbreon, so I'm just gonna adjust slightly like that. We're gonna throw in Rotom just to represent all his forms. The concept of Rotom is just incredibly cool, and he's also like one of those Pokemon that you kind of always want to use. It's just fun to have a Pokemon where you can actively change the type of it on a whim. You know, so like you can have it like Electric Fire one day, then Electric Water the other, and it has several good type-ins that you can change it to. Like Electric Grass, Electric Fire, Electric Water are all actually very viable and very good. Electric Ice is a bit weird. Electric Flying, kind of lame. You have Levitate already. But Rotom is just a very cool concept Pokemon. So he gets in there. Dialga is the god of time. And I think he's one of my favorite legendaries overall in the series. So we're going to pop him on A tier. I just really like him. Heatran is criminally underrated for competitive Pokemon again. A lot of special defense Heatran sets were ran back in the day. It's a very powerful lad. You got to watch out for him. One of the coolest fire types. The fire-steel combination is just interesting. And then the fact that he absorbs fire-type attacks as well. Shaman Sky is one that I've always had a bit of a soft spot for. Just at the low end. I've always liked Shaman Sky. Victini. Right up the top. Victini is one of my absolute all-time favorite Pokemon. I love the lad. I abandoned my starter when I was playing Black and White for the first time purely to use Victini because I preferred Victini. It's one of my favorite Pokemon. It's like a real cool offensive Pokemon as well. It has a very strong like kind of V-Create attacking move, but it also gets access to like Blue Flare and like Blue Bolt as well. It has a good like coverage all around because of that. It gets a U-turn. It's just a very strong Pokemon and a menace, and it's a very cute design as well. It's like absolutely my favorite legendary. Giratina, my beloved. I'm making hard choices because it's favorite Pokemon. You want me to make even harder choices? Like, I'll be honest with you. Arcanine didn't make it. Sandslash didn't make it. Mega Slowbro didn't make it. I don't think Breloom made it. I don't think Shaman actually made it. Harder choices. Marowak didn't make it. Ho-Oh didn't make it. Let's revise it a little. I'm revising it. Slowbro is hanging on. Slowbro is hanging on. He's gone. He's gone. Umbreon is hanging on. Ditto's going down the list too. These are my favorite Pokemon. You want to know what I think is the best of the best and like sacrifices gotta be made? Okay, Gen 5, Whimsicott. I can never decide between the two of these. It's a heated battle. But Whimsicott is absolutely up there. Grass Fairy typing. Prankster Encore support. This Pokemon is a menace in competitive Pokemon. It is a very cute design. It actually has a surprising amount of power. It has a surprising amount of coverage. It can fulfill a lot of roles. Criminally underrated Pokemon. And absolutely recommend it to anyone. Whimsicott makes the list as one of the best. Zoroark, just a cool Pokemon. The fact that it can disguise as something else, it's always just led to like kind of some fun, memorable situations. And like it packs like quite a punch itself. Zoroark definitely makes it. Let's see, what else have we got? Oh, Chinchino is one of my favorite Pokemon that I actually used in Black and White too. Chinchino is deceptively powerful. The reason that it's actually very, very good is because it gets the ability Skill Link, where it attacks 5 times guaranteed with every move that hits multiple times. And it gets one called Tail Slap, which is a stab normal type attack. I mean, it basically always hits with like a base power 125 power attack, which is actually quite insane. And if you chuck a King's Rock on that, you have a chance to flinch your opponent on every single one of those slaps, which is very mean. But it's also just a very cute design. Gets okay coverage too. They give this one all the skill link moves. They give it Rock Blast. They give it like I think the Bullet Seed. They give it Tail Slap. It's actually it's a very cute design for Pokemon, but it's actually surprisingly powerful, and it's a fun one to use. So that definitely gets a spot up there. Jellicent definitely gets a spot too. He's basically the walking embodiment of Mr. Pringles, but Water Ghost and he's bulky. It's actually just quite a cool combination of things. He can hold his own. He has Acid Armor as an ability, which raises his defense and makes it so he survives a long while. He gets access to Recover. He's just a cool fella. Like, he looks like a bit of a meme too, and I love him. So we'll pop him on the list. Let's keep going. Haxorus, I think, is one of the coolest dragon types that they've had. He has Dragon Dance under his belt as well, and he just has like monstrous base physical attack. Something stupid like 140, I think. Like unbelievably strong. Chandelure, fire ghost that also packs like a mean punch. I'd rate him kind of like on par with Haxorus here and putting him on the list. Very solid Pokemon that I think deserves a spot. Volcarona, I think, is the coolest bug type that they've ever made, period. And it's also a real damn strong one. You almost want to include it on a lot of teams. It's a special attacker with strong bug and fire type attacks, but it also gets Quiver Dance, which at the time when it was introduced was a unique move to it, which basically buffed its special attack, special defense, and speed. Like, all around, like, amazing Pokemon, and it was kind of like a semi-legendary even in Black and White when it was introduced, because it's very hard to find. You have to actually go to a static encounter in the game. Volcarona deserves a lot of love, and I definitely recommend using it. It's just a shame we don't often get the chance to pick it up in a Pokemon game. It's very rarely available. Outside of, like, Black and White, I think. And you get it quite late into the games, too, which is sad. You know, it deserves a lot more love. Landorus here. Landorus Therian. Just speaking from competitive Pokemon battling experience, Landorus Therian is one of the Pokemon that you would always see next to Gliscor. It's the best of the genies. It has Intimidate. It has solid defense. Very powerful Pokemon. Always a menace. We will go... I went a bit too far. Zekrom. Zekrom is another one of my favorite legendaries. I'm gonna pop him a high B here. Not as popular as Victini for me, but I just like his design, and the Electric Dragon is cool typing. The ads are back. I'm so sorry. They're so awful. They're so awful. More charity, guys. I'm so sorry. Like, Jesus. At least it's going for charity. It's something. Yeah, we'll give people a chance to come on back. I'm just going to scour the earlier bit of the list, make sure I haven't missed anything. Because I think I've got a lot of them, honestly. I'm trying to pick, like, the top of the top here. Of, like, the best ones. And, like, it's actually quite hard. Like, especially with, like, the Gen 5 ones. Like, I find it very difficult to decide between, like, I like a lot of Gen 5 designs. I really do like a lot of them. I might give Genesect a low entry on it. Genesect's always a cool one. Kind of like a special base Scizor with U-turn. You can even run it physical or mix set if you want. It gets access to Iron Head. We'll just slip that in there. Okay. Gen 6. We'll pop Greninja on. Greninja definitely gets a spot. I think Greninja is definitely A tier. Just Protein being one of the coolest abilities in the game. It's always just a fun Pokemon to use. It changes type on a whim, and it can always be super effective, in theory, against what you're fighting. Or no, sorry, it always gets stab against what you're fighting, which is just really cool. It's just got very good stats as well. So absolutely gets a spot. Gen 6. Aegislash is definitely on it. Aegislash is one of the coolest Pokemon conceptually. Like, this is like up there with Rotom, I think. I love the stance change that this guy has. He goes from having 150 base defense and 150 base special defense with his shield up to 150 attack and then 150 special attack whenever you use an attack and move. He also has King's Shield as a move, which is a protect that switches his stance, but also if they hit you while you use King's Shield, it lowers their attack. So it's like a few things happening there at once, and it's just a really fun Pokemon. Steel Ghost is a really cool combination as well. Hits like a truck, but it's also a defensive powerhouse. It's just a very fun Pokemon to use. It's 140 now, it got nerfed. It's still good. It's still good. Yeah, so that absolutely gets one. Goodra. Actually, are the new forms on this? Because I think the new form Goodra might be cooler. Yeah, new form Goodra. Just a nice addition. It makes Goodra just a little bit more interesting, gives it a little bit more bulk. I'd pop him kind of down here, but it's like it's a Pokemon I'd like to see. Not one of my all-time favorites, but I do like Goodra. Give him a spot. I think that might be it for Gen 6. Yeah, Gen 6 has a lot of, like, slim pickings Pokemon, doesn't it? There's not a lot of, like, really memorable ones. Like, Aegislash is probably the most memorable one in Greninja. Carbink actually is one I've always had a little bit of love for. I've always liked this little guy. I just think he's cute. And that's enough reason for me to put him on the list. Carbink is cute. Okay, Gen 7. We're just gonna keep moving on. Rowlet. S tier. And we gotta go back down. Decidueye. S tier as well. It's the coolest starter Pokemon that there's ever been in the entire franchise, in my opinion. It's just very fun to use, and its final evolution is very powerful, and I love the type combination on it. It's so much fun. So he's absolutely near the top. Let's see, Gen 7 Pokemon. The Lycanroc Midday one has always been kind of cool and a bit of a standout. Just a pure rock wolf. It's kind of near in the same spot as Zoroark. It just has like some interesting potential. I have a bit of a soft spot for it because I got the shiny and Sword and Shield for this guy. So I gave him a bit more of a chance playing with him. He's just an offensive Pokemon that you can actually use in Sun and Moon quite reliably. That form of him is the coolest one too. It's like the halfway one. Oh, another God tier Gen 7 Pokemon. Beware is easily an A tier. This is a normal fighting type Pokemon that is kind of like a meme in the games where like this cute Pokemon apparently will rip your face off and actually maul you. Like it's basically treat it as if it's an actual bear in games and really fucking dangerous, but it's so cute and it makes this gesture as if it wants to hug you. When it's trying to maul your face, it actually probably should go to prison. Probably should still be in prison, yeah. One of the best Pokemon out there. I love Beware. Mimikyu, I think, is also very cute. I love that the idea that this is just like a Pokemon that's kind of sad because Pikachu gets all the spotlight. My hope is to get an evolution for this Pokemon that looks a bit like Charizard. That's sad because Charizard gets all the spotlight, except then it's better than Charizard. Of the Tapus, I've always had a soft spot for Tapu Fini, just because Water Fairy typing is just quite offensive. I quite like it. I use this guy a lot in like kind of competitive. That's one I'd kind of pop down here. Tapu Fini, I think, is like the best. Tapu Koko is kind of cool. I prefer Tapu Fini. The other two really aren't of note. There's all the Ultra Beasts as well. Like, I don't know if we really talk about the Ultra Beasts. They're all kind of weird. Cinderace. Cinderace is A tier. It's up there with Greninja. It has Libero. It's like it changes its type whenever it attacks. Stupidly powerful. Very fun to use. It's absolutely up there. It's one of the best starter Pokemon they've made. He should be in prison. Wooloo. Wooloo is absolutely an S tier Pokemon. One of the cutest designs they've ever made in Pokemon, and it's simply just a round, fluffy sheep. Like, it's just such a lovable one. It's such a cute design. I'm amazed it took so long to make this Pokemon. Like, you just want to hug one. You're never going to use it in battle. It's not really competitively viable. It's just so cute. It's an adorable Pokemon. It's literally just a sheep. Sometimes that's all you need for Pokemon design. Dubwool isn't even as good. Dubwool's not even as cool of a design. But Wooloo is wonderful. Other Gen 8 Pokemon. Oh, Phalanx. I love the idea of this Pokemon just being like a unit. But it's like, this is technically like 5 Pokemon in an overcoat, but you've caught them as one entity, so you basically throw them as a platoon. It's kind of like similar in its concept to Dugtrio, except it's clearer that they're like separate entities working together. So I kind of love it. I gotta give the boys a spot. Let's see what other ones. Dragapult, I think, is just one of the cool kind of, what was it, like pseudo-legendary Pokemon? Is that what they call them? It's like the 600 like IV stat total, base stat total Pokemon. Dragapult is just one of the cooler ones. Ghost Dragon is just cool typing. It's like, it also has this benefit where it's like one of those Pokemon that looks like it's a family of Pokemon fighting. The little torpedoes it shoots are Dreepies coming out of like its ears, which is just kind of cute. Dragapult's a very cool one. I do like him. We won't give any spots to the fucked up fossil Pokemon. I don't really like any of them. The dogs, I don't really like the dogs. Calyrex gets a spot purely because, like a low spot, purely because he possesses someone who's like your dad in the DLC. And it's just very funny. That's it. Calyrex gets a slight spot because of that. It's cool in concept as well when you can merge it with the horse Pokemon to like actually like mount it. It's an interesting mechanic for it. It's very clear. Hisuian's Typhlosion. That gets up there with Cyndaquil, no contest. Fire Ghost, new Typhlosion form. Zoroark's new form, I'd argue, is cooler than its base form just because of its types. Normal Ghost is a really interesting type pairing because you're immune to normal type attacks, you're immune to Ghost type attacks, and you're immune to fighting type attacks. You have 3 immunities, and its only weakness, I think, is dark type attacks because of that. So like, it just makes more sense for Zoroark to be that type and than just pure dark. Whereas, because like, here you can only resist just psychic. Here it's like you can actually like preserve your disguise quite a while. So we're gonna give that a spot. Hisuian Decidueye. Gets a Spot as a cool Pokemon, but it's not as good as Base Decidueye. I think Base Decidueye is cooler. Ursaluna, sleeper hit of a Pokemon. One of the most powerful menacing Pokemon they've added in Legends Arceus. She just hits like a truck. You gotta watch out when she's about. So she absolutely gets a Spot. Very menacing, dangerous Pokemon. So we give that one. Long Sneasel's kind of a meme. Maybe not. Okay. So that's the short list. I'm gonna see if I can refine this a bit further. To see if it's like one Pokemon on each ladder. Or like one row. I'm gonna see if I can refine it. Umbreon's not my favorite. Genesect's not my favorite. Calyrex, it's kind of story carrying in a mirror. We're gonna cut it down a little bit more. I'm sorry, Noctowl. I'm sorry, Goodra. There we go. We're just trimming it a little bit. Mimikyu. I like the concept, but I never really realistically use one. Absol, I think it's a concept. Mew, I think it's more of a concept Pokemon. Gengar, you're gone. Gotta keep Floofy Eevee, I think. I think that's important. I think that's important. Maybe I just keep it as is there. I think that's all of them. I don't know how else I adjust this list. Like, the most I could trim it down is trimming down some of these, like, kind of forms. If I want to, but I think that's just doing it for the sake of it then. I think those are my favorite Pokemon. Yep, I think those are the best of the best. What's your opinion on Arachnid? That Pokemon probably shouldn't exist. Don't like it one bit. But where are its eyes? It's like on like a tripod or something. It's a weird one. Smasher Pass. I don't think I want to do that. No. No, we're not doing that. What does that imply for fucking Phalanx? That's 5 of them. Oh no. Oh god. Yeah, I think those are the favorites. I think that's it. I think we've done pretty good. There's some notable, there's 2 notable should still be in prison. Honestly, if Beware was like legit on it, Beware is like an A tier. Beware is adorable. So I seem to gravitate towards like the round kind of fluffy ones. It's like Whimsicott, Bidoof, Wooloo, Rowlet, Jigglypuff, Mareep. Even Piplup. The round ones are my favorite. And these are probably the trifectum of my least favorite Pokemon. Is those 3. So I hate Mr. Mime, don't like Charizard, and like the less we say about Peter Griffin, the better. But yeah, there we go. I think we're good. I think that's it. It's an interesting mix. Thank you. I think like of every Pokemon I'd say, I think I have like a plushie of like Dragonite and Beware. Like I'm trying to think of the plushies I actually have, and I think every Pokemon I have a plushie of out there is on this list. False Zorua is not on here. But Zoroark's on it twice, though. Like, come on. You have a soft spot for soft Pokemon. It's a mix of like the real cute soft ones, and then it's like, I'm gonna fuck you up. I'm gonna murder you. You know? Prove it, show us the plushies. I think I've shown the plushies before on Discord. I've shown them before. Proof's out there. Where's Snom? Oh no, I dropped him. Oh no! Where did he go? Yeah, these are my favorites, I think. Yeah, I think that order feels fair to me. I think we're gonna leave it at that because I don't want more ads to play. I'm so sorry about that too. Like something's clearly gone wrong. Any ad money that did come in this stream, I will donate to charity when we do the one for the Ukraine soon. I'm hoping to do it on Saturday. And that will be the next stream too. Just apologies there, because I don't like this experience kind of being like that badly interrupted. Oh, the credits are going to be a bit off too, because I had to restart the stream at one point. Apologies for that. Thank you to everyone who subbed and gave bits. Thank you to the mods for being on hand as ever. I hope you enjoyed the stream. Hope you enjoyed listening to me shit on potentially your favorite Pokemon game. Oh, God. Just the twist of even praising Sword and Shield. I've thought about that a lot, where it's like, I know how much I hated playing through Sword and Shield the first time, but I also did everything in the game. And, like, I have so many hours on it. I have hundreds of hours. I keep playing it. And, like, that is a testament to that game, I think. Like, I still go back and do max raids in it from time to time, even though, like, 2 more Pokemon games have come out since then. Because it's that good. Yeah, thank you for coming, though, folks. Next stream will be Saturday. God, the credits is moving slow. It's fine. The next stream will be Saturday. I'm hoping to go live for 3, and we're going to do, hopefully, a charity stream. I'm just trying to get the setup right for it. But I have ordered some supplies, and I think it should be good fun. I'm excited for it. Slowpoke is running the credits. He is. There we go. Okay, we're good. Okay, let me see who's streaming. I'll leave you in someone's care. Let me see who's going. Mango is streaming, and we haven't rated Mango in a while. Her stream title is a bit worrying that says, I have the biggest deck. Now it's deck. But go say hey to Ash. I don't know what she's doing. I have no idea. Okay, thanks for coming, folks. I'll see you all Saturday. Take care.